I hope all of you enjoyed that ad for Painted to Power by Terror. Such an awesome record. If you haven't had a chance yet, please do yourself a favor and go stream that record. And today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records, One Scene Unity, Hardcore Compilation Volume 3, featuring Not One Truth, Hellbound, Never Again, C4, Chemical Fix, Search for Purpose, Stiff Meds, Fool's Game, Contention, Buried Alive, Live It Down, Gridiron, Adrian, Broken Vow, Nothing But Enemies, Submit, Killing Me, and Wreckage. Also, And Still by Envision is out now. Do yourself a favor, go stream that record, support that band. They're awesome. They were recently on the From Within Records podcast. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that yet, please do yourself a favor, go listen to that episode, subscribe to their podcast. They're doing awesome things. Warren doing a full US tour. They're hitting LA July 7th, and I'm very excited to see them live. If you are excited and curious about seeing Warren, go look up that tour flyer. I'm sure they're hitting a city near you. Also, Shackled, Doubt Surrounds All in the USA. I'm so excited to see Shackled in California. Years ago, Shackled was slated to play Arizona, and I don't remember which city in Arizona, but I was willing to make the drive to Arizona to see them, because at that point I hadn't had the opportunity to see them live, and I was such a fan, and I still am, of that band, so I was willing to make the drive to Arizona to see them, but things didn't happen, so I didn't go to Arizona. But eventually, fast forwarded down, I've flown across the country to see Shackled multiple times. Amazing band, and I'm very excited to see them in California with Statement of Pride. It's going to be so sick. So please, that tour is definitely hitting a city near you. Support Shackled, support Statement of Pride. Two amazing bands. If you're not following From Within Records on social media, please boot up your Twitter, your Instagram, click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. Also, if you're looking for high quality merch for your bands, for your business, whatever it may be, please go hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or you can contact them at contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. They do amazing stuff. I love all the collab shirts that I've done with them, and I know a lot of you are stoked on the quality of the prints, so please support them like I do, because it's great stuff, great people, and I am very stoked to work with them in the future. And before we get too in depth about today's guest, I just want you to know that after we wrap up the intro here, we will be premiering another song off the LDB compilation that will be coming out very soon from a band, called Sleep Away. The song is titled Logan Street, so please stay tuned, listen to that. It's such an awesome song. But on today's episode, we were able to track down our good friend Tyler Short. He plays in Inclination, Constraint, Sleep Away, and helps run LDB Records. He's an amazing guy, and it was something that I was looking forward to very much, being able to sit down and talk to Tyler again about Doctor Strange. We break this movie down to the best of our knowledge, from front to back. We give our takes, and it was very fun. These are seriously some of my most favorite podcasts to do. I'm such a nerd for comic books, for Marvel. I'm a Marvel fanboy. It's no secret. It's well documented. So, fair warning, if you have not seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, hit pause, because if you're not a fan of spoilers, we break down the movie front to back. We talk about the post-credit scenes, and I don't want to disappoint you if you are trying to go into the movie blind. So hit pause, go watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then come back and listen to this podcast. It's awesome. It's long and it was very fun. So strap in, enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome Tyler Short to the show. We're here today to talk about our experience with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which was awesome. I watched it after you. You had texted me, and all you said was "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Damn, I think this is about the movie. I think he just got out," and that got me even more pumped because I was like, "All right, he watched it today." I got that text, and I was like, "All right, tomorrow is going to be my turn," and I'm pretty excited to check it out. But before we get into the movie, I just want to say that I still hate going to the movie theater. Had another bad experience. Yes, and I don't know how this always happens, but it just furthers my stance on where I'd rather just be able to stream it at home. But I show up to the movie, right? I'm late. Because I like fell asleep and I woke up, so I was like, fuck, I got to rush to get to the theater. I show up with about maybe like 20 seconds until the movie actually starts, and there's a person sitting in my seat because this is like, you reserve your seats or whatever. So I show up and I'm just like, yo, like, you're in my seat, and they tried to play stupid. They're like, oh really? But I'm like, dude, when you bought your ticket, you selected your seat. Yes, really, you're in my seat. So their whole party had to get up and just shift over one seat, and it was a big commotion. It was really annoying. So I'm like, whatever, sit down. The two people next to me won't shut up for like the first 10 minutes of the movie. They won't shut up, and I'm like, I'm not going to take this. So I was just like, yo, do you mind? And I was like, I had to sound stern about it because I was like, I'm not trying to, get disturbed. I'm trying to pay attention because I knew we were doing this podcast. I want to be able to retain what I'm watching. And they were like kind of surprised that I said something, but I'm like, dude, you're in a movie theater. This isn't a place to chat. Like, go outside or go home.
How far into the movie were they talking?
Honestly, it was only like maybe like 15, 20 minutes in.
But no.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You can talk during a fucking preview. I don't even like talking during previews. My mom will talk during all the previews, and I'm like, I love my mom, but like literally, like she'll be like trying to talk to me, but like once that sound starts, I can't pay attention to anything. Like I'm trying to pay attention to her, but at the same time, there's like James Bond or something going on in the background. I'm like I fucking like. I feel so uncomfortable right now because I feel like I can't give you the attention you need from me. And at the same time, like, I kind of want to pay attention to the preview.
Yeah, it's like, yo, fam.
But still, you're talking to the preview. It's not a big deal. Once the fucking movie starts, like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and mind you, I'm like half awake, right? And once again, I went to the 4D theater, so I'm half awake. I have my large soda in my cup holder, and it's the opening scene of Doctor Strange where they're in the Gap Junction, and they're like running down that like, stone path or whatever, and like everything's shaking, and they're speaking a foreign language, and then I'm like, oh shit, did I buy the wrong language movie? because they have that option. At the theater that I go to, there's multiple languages that you can purchase. So I'm like, fuck. And I was like instantly pissed off. I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna have to sit through this whole movie with subtitles. But then obviously it kicks in, and then they start speaking English. I'm like, oh, okay. Obviously it's because of America Chavez. And I was just like, okay, I didn't buy the wrong one. And then it probably took me about 30 minutes to finally get comfortable and start to enjoy myself because I had to deal with all this shit leading up to it. It was kind of annoying, but that's why I just hate going to the theater. But it's a necessary evil to do these.
Bro, that is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That just made me think about so around like Halloween, me and Ashton were like watching like a different scary movie every day.
Okay.
And she's never seen Scream before. And I was like, fuck, dude, we're gonna figure out a way to watch Scream. So we were like just looking on all the different apps and whatnot on the Roku, and we finally found like a place to watch Scream. And we're like, all right, so we sat down, we watched it. And the beginning of Scream is like a lot of just like establishing shots and stuff, and like Drew Barrymore like making the popcorn and whatnot. And then we would get up to the point where the phone rings, and then she picks it up, hola, and we were like, fuck, we're watching the Spanish version. So then we looked around for like 10 more minutes. We found another one on another site. We start watching it. We get 5 minutes of the movie. The phone rings. Hola.
Jeez.
We just found Spanish version after Spanish version of Spain. So I was like, all right, well, fuck it. We'll maybe we'll watch it next year. But goddamn, dude, that is so funny that you thought you were in the wrong fucking theater. That's priceless.
Yeah, I was like, I just accepted. I'm like, fuck it, I'll watch it in this language. But yeah, it turns out that it was the right one, because they sprinkle it in like here and there throughout the film, right? America and surprisingly Wong speaking Spanish, and Doctor Strange, our Doctor Strange just being completely clueless, did not know anything, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, no, well, all he cared about was being a fucking surgeon, man. So you really liked it?
Yeah, I walked away thinking like, holy shit, that was an experience, because granted, and obviously by this point, spoilers if you haven't watched the movie, but just it starts off right into the action, and then there's like a little break because you go to Christine's wedding, and then from Christine's wedding to the end of the movie, it's literally just like nonstop.
It's pretty fucking nonstop. Yeah. I really liked it, man. It was we talked about this with Spider-Man, that I said that like this is one of the first Marvel movies, like other than the big team ups, which there's going to be, whether it's Civil War or Avengers, you're going to have so many people, so many characters, so many things going on. But with these with the solo movies, or like the more like franchise movies or whatever, this one in Spider-Man really felt like reading a comic book. Like every time you turn the page or every time a scene changes, anything can happen. And I think that's how Spider-Man felt. Was like, it felt like so many people, like so many characters came in, so many different actors, so many different stories, like so many threads were able to be woven into the story, where it really was anything can happen sort of story. And I thought Doctor Strange did a pretty good job at making that I don't know, that immersion into the world, where it really was like you could just kind of lose yourself in like what's gonna happen next. Like the whole thing like really was and I don't know, I want to go through it like pretty methodical like we usually do, but it really, like, I was impressed with how wowed I was by the movie, visually and story wise. It just did a lot, but not in a confusing way.
Yeah, one thing that I walked away with, because for people who may not be familiar with comic books, they see another new superhero introduced, right? America Chavez. And for them to be able to have me walking away and being like, wow, I actually am interested in where America Chavez is going to fall in like this whole MCU thing, right? Because for them to bring her in and not have to focus too much on her origin story, and you just kind of they would sprinkle things in here and there for you to learn about her, and then for her to have the power that she does, right, to be able to traverse through the multiverse with her power, it's like super important right now with it being open and all these things, after No Way, or excuse me, I can't think of the last name of the Spider-Man movie. I'm drawing a blank right now.
It was No Way Home.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was going down the right direction. It just sounded wrong. It sounded wrong in my head as I was saying it. Yeah, after No Way Home, and then obviously with Endgame, and now knowing that these possibilities, that there's all these other universes going on at the same time, it's like, okay, cool. It's just like, seems like the right time to introduce someone with this kind of ability, and to walk away from the movie and actually feeling attached, and not just like, wow, this character just seems pointless. They did a really good job of bringing in somebody new and not boring us within like a weird origin story. So it was just really cool. That's something that I really liked about this movie, was that they're able to bring in someone who's super, like, way less known in the grand scheme of things, but it still made her feel really important.
Did you see the thing where, because this movie was supposed to come out before Spider-Man, she was supposed to be in Spider-Man?
No, I had no idea.
The whole Ned doing all of Ned's sorcery that he does in Spider-Man, they just decided to give that to Ned. That was supposed to be America Chavez. She was supposed to be with the kids, so it would have been a really like a kids movie, where all four of them, I guess, would have been on this adventure together.
Interesting.
And, yeah, she was, because Multiverse of Madness was supposed to happen, but because of COVID, they had to reshuffle things. America Chavez was supposed to be filling that Ned's sorcery roles. Ned would have still been in it, being what Ned is to the story. But they decided to give him the small abilities that she would have been capable of at that point in her training for doing stuff. Which I thought after hearing that, I was like, well, damn, they really just bait and switched that and made it Ned, and I didn't even question it. I was just like, oh yeah, this is funny. This makes sense.
Mhm.
But it would have made even more sense if the movies had come out in the correct order, because we would have had somebody who was actually like an apprentice or of sorts.
Yeah, because obviously, because at the end, when you see her at Carmitage, like training, okay, that's cool. I know.
But that fight scene at the end would have been so much more intense if it was 3 Spider-Man and America Chavez.
Yeah,
like it would have been wild.
They would have ended up in other universes. I wonder how that would have been.
Probably it would have added a whole new like, I'm wondering how much of No Way Home had to be rewritten because they lost access to her because of how they were planning on introducing her. I thought she was cool. I haven't really seen too much hate for the movie, but I've heard that there is hate for the movie.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too, because I was talking to some friends, and I was asking what they have heard, because I haven't seen any, but I haven't really been looking either. But they told me that people were complaining about the length of the film, which I'm like, it's 2 hours. It's like, well, it's like 2 hours and 6 minutes. Like, what? Not every movie can be almost 3 hours. Like Spider-Man, but
like, did people want it to be longer or shorter?
Longer, because what I was hearing, and this is all, I don't even know what's true or not, but what some of the people that I spoke to told me, that they wished it was longer so that there could have been more development for the story, because they felt like some things just seemed rushed.
I don't think anything seemed rushed.
Yeah, me either, because when you look at how Scarlet Witch was hunting them down, what she has these crazy abilities.
It was rushed. Like,
yeah,
there was a rush in the movie. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you had lengthened the movie out, so that was that makes me think about, there was a point in time when people were getting tired of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Because there was like a whole season where they were just like running the whole season, like they couldn't find a safe place, and that was kind of like what they were trying to do with the show, but the audience didn't have the stamina to hang with the show and be patient with this, or get in the car and just sit in the passenger seat and not try to change the fucking radio station. Like, the audience was like wanting something different from the show than what the creators were trying to do. And that's my thing, is like, if the movie had been longer and it had just been more stressful for longer, you would have been like, oh, well, that was just an exhausting movie. Like, God, it felt like it was just going on for so long. Like, and it's like, but if you pace the movie to be aggressive, you have to be conscious of how long it's going to be, because how long can you stress people out for?
Yeah, and I felt like with the constant running from Scarlet Witch, it's like, okay, like how many times can they actually get away without it being like, believable?
Yeah, exactly. If we needed more near catches, because pretty much you're right, from like 15-20 minutes in, it was nonstop till the end.
Mm-hmm.
And even when there were lulls, it was stressful, because you knew that somewhere else something was going wrong. Exactly.
Yeah, she was always looming.
Yeah, like she was always looming. And even in those moments, like when the Mordo Strange scene, I'm like, y'all, like she's gonna fuck it up. Like, you like, really, you're just gonna talk right now? Like, I don't know. I feel like I was frustrated with the movie, but not because it was like bad or doing something wrong. It was because the movie was trying to make me feel frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, I was having the correct response to that's the thing that bothers me so much with this whole, with everybody having a fucking like Yelp mentality when it comes to anything that they like. Everyone's a consumer and everyone's a critic. Is this idea that you should feel that art should make you feel any way Like, you should be able to dictate the way art makes you feel. You should have a feeling from art based on what the art makes you feel. You shouldn't like, and it's just so frustrating to me that people want to like have a hand in the creation of the art. If you want to, get a job in movie production. Write your own movie.
Exactly.
Make your own movie. Like, if you want so badly to, but when it comes to art that you have no like party in, just go for the ride. Just get in the car and don't try to change the station. Just put your seatbelt on and just go where you're going and get there when you get there.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And the one thing that I hate is when there's like a, you know, obviously a movie like Doctor Strange, or maybe it's too early to tell, but or something like, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home, clearly one of the best movies to have come out. And when I see any little criticism, I'm just like, okay, you're just trying to be like a contrarian, or you're just nitpicking. It's like, come on, there's no need for that. But that's just part of the territory. That's always going to be people, right? But people always wanted to go against shit, even if it's good. So
yeah, no, I was having a discussion with one of my coworkers today about so many people are upset with how Ozark ended, and I fucking loved how it ended. And we were talking about all the criticism with how that show ended. And one of the things I told him, I was like, well, you look at all these articles that are criticizing the way it ended. Which have you seen Ozark?
I have not seen the last season. I put it off.
I will say this. So the last scene of Ozark is one of my favorite last scenes of any series I've ever seen, because of the final dialogue in the show.
Interesting. Okay.
The last lines of the show are some of the most aggressive, the most aggressive dialogue I've seen towards the way our world is. And when I was talking to my buddy at work, I was like, with all these people who are writing these articles who are criticizing Ozark, there is actually no vested interest in them thinking that it was good, because it actually calls into question the existence of their jobs. And that's something I think people like forget sometimes when it comes to like them reading like a criticism and then being like, I'm going to have this criticism now also, is like, I always think about like, well, where's this criticism coming from? Where's the vested interest this person has in making me think the thing that they think right now? Because do they have an ulterior motive? And the ulterior motive for Doctor Strange that I could see, if somebody's got a harsh criticism for it and somebody's trying to tear the movie down, you might be a misogynist, my dude. Because this movie had very strong female characters without presenting itself like Captain Marvel did, in this kind of like woke, you know, girls get it done sort of attitude.
Yeah.
Like, whereas I liked Captain Marvel, but I do see where Captain Marvel was like trying to be like, was being facetious, was being like, you know, like was directly calling out misogyny. Where Doctor Strange just had strong female characters who steered the story in their own ways and with their own motivations that were well fleshed out and understood. And sometimes that's even worse than when it's all up in your face anti-misogyny. If it's just pro female forward things, people get a little more offended when it's something that it's a little harder for them to point to. Oh, Captain Marvel was like a dick to that guy, that motorcycle guy. Like, you know, like women just hate men. Like it was like, it gives them like the easy thing to point to. Whereas in this, it's like Scarlet Witch had like a very, very clear, strong motivation and was pretty fucking tough and pretty fucking powerful. And a lot of people, nerds who aren't comfortable with women being in positions of power, don't like that, man. They don't like it.
Yeah, and that was, I always think that's strange, but um, growing up playing video games, I don't know why, but I would always just favor playing as female characters. And I remember my cousin who I would play, the fighting games with, like Street Fighter and stuff. He'd be like, dude, are you gay? Like, why do you always pick the girl characters? And I'm just like, well, they look cool. I just gravitate towards them, and I've always been like that, like my whole life, even like to this day. Like Street Fighter 5, probably like one of the newer fighting games that I am really into. Like the main character that he uses, this Brazilian jiu-jitsu player, her name's Laura, and I don't know, it's just always stuck with me. So like I've always thought it was cool. Not like, for any other strange reason. Like there's like a ton of like male leads that I like too, but I always just liked these female characters. So like when I get to see things like Scarlet Witch finally get the recognition she deserves, because going back to when she first appeared, I was always kind of surprised that it felt like they were kind of presenting her weaker than what she normally is, because for anyone who has ever read a real comic book knows that she's one of the most powerful mutants ever. So when I see her just not really being able to kill everybody, I'm just like, all right, this is kind of weird. I was like, and I even said it on like podcasts before that I hope one day that we can see her true strength. Yeah. And then when watching this movie, I'm like, okay, even though she you did some crazy stuff that I wasn't like that big of a fan of, I'm happy that we're able to see how powerful and dangerous Scarlet Witch is, and I was very, very happy about that.
Well, I think they did a good job with WandaVision of kind of expanding her powers in a realistic way to bringing her up to the speed that she would be at for this movie to be the threat she was, by kind of really giving you an idea of like, well, she didn't really know what her powers were. And in WandaVision, she really became like, she came to understand her power and where it's coming from and what it can do. Where I remember one of the things that I like, because me and my mom and Ashton go and see these movies, all these movies together. And I remember after we went and saw Civil War, we were talking about Scarlet Witch, and I was like explaining to them like, well, Scarlet Witch is like really powerful compared to like what they've really let her do in these movies so far. And I was like, and like, I hate to say it, but like one of the things she does in that movie that is like insanely powerful in Civil War is when she pulls all of that gas out of a building. That's a fucked thing to be able to do. That's one of those things where like you realize like, oh, this person's power is almost limited to their imagination. And when someone's power is limited to what they can think of, that's an immense amount of power to have.
Yeah.
Like the idea that she can say no more mutants and there's no more mutants. Like the fact that she can get so frustrated with everything going on that she just takes people's powers from them. She can just do that. The fact that it is almost so like the fact that her power is limited almost to her imagination, which means it's limitless, means that she can only ever become more powerful the more she grows her idea of what her power is. And then the way they did it with, her having the Darkhold and whatnot, I thought that was such a cool way of taking her from level 50 to level 100 in an instant. I thought they did a really good job at the escalation of her powers, like being somewhat sensible. Because if she had come out the gates being as powerful as she was, it would have been a Captain Marvel showing up at the end of Endgame and just fucking up everything. It really would have been well, this character doesn't really have any business to be with the rest of them. She could kind of do this by herself.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job at when finally, which, I want to start talking about the movie, but like making her the bad guy was such a cool decision because you really finally got to see her full force and ability, because she was going up against other people who were dangerous or powerful. and kicked their asses.
Yeah, I just want to touch on a couple last things because she was. You think back to Age of Ultron, you got to see her like obviously do like some stuff, but that was like short lived. But before this movie, I always wrote off WandaVision. Right? People were like, "Oh, like what do you like about the Disney Plus series?" And I'm just like, "Oh, WandaVision was kind of whack." But walking away from this movie, I'm just like, "Oh wow, that was actually like way more important to like for setup than I had thought." And I'm just like, wow, here we are just like, years later. And I'm just like, oh, okay, now I can truly appreciate it. And I just feel like I feel kind of stupid for just writing it off for so long. But then seeing how Doctor Strange played out, I'm like, okay, everything makes way more sense on why there was like such a big deal about WandaVision.
Well, I mean, dude, just like I really liked WandaVision because growing up like with like Nick at Night and like watching I Love Lucy as a child and like really loving like a lot of that stuff. And then also like the like I don't think I really watched too much of like the 70s sitcoms and whatnot. Like I guess I watched a little bit of Brady Bunch as a kid too, but but like Malcolm in the Middle was like my elementary school show. Like I fucking loved Malcolm in the Middle. So like when like watching I really liked the funness of WandaVision going through all these eras of the like the concept of the sitcom. And I really liked watching the making of it was really cool because the way they did Bewitched in the Dick Van Dyke Show and all of those early episodes, they did it with the strings and the wires and like they used her magic and her powers and whatnot. They used like very practical effects and stayed away from the CGI to do a lot of that stuff. And I thought that was cool. I thought the commitment to the bit, I really appreciated that their commitment to trying to do it. And also like apparently the way they did it, because they shot it like they shot it kind of like they would shoot one of those shows. So they shot it in front of a live audience and they would turn around these sets every week too. So they were like remaking the sets every week and like not just like and then turning it around and making a whole new show for a live audience every week until I guess the later ones when they switched to the single camera style of doing stuff, when it started getting into like the 80s and 90s sitcoms. But I really, really liked how they did the WandaVision and then like the style of how they set the show up. And I appreciated just the desperation that she was in, that she like they did a good job explaining exactly how desperate coming back to life and Vision not being there. Like, and knowing like, I mean, what she said in Doctor Strange, like I exploded my love's head for nothing. Like that would fuck you up. Would fuck you up. Imagine the last thing you did before you just blink back into existence is murder the love of your life and see how it didn't mean a thing. You did the hardest thing you could ever do. And then you watch some big purple monster undo what you just did and then do it again.
Yeah, they had to live through the horror twice.
Fuck, dude. It's fucked.
It is fucked. Okay.
No one would be okay. No one would be okay after that.
One more thing before we jump into the movie. So the end of WandaVision, we see the Darkhold, and I'm like, okay, this is very important. This has definitely popped up before, and I had to think about it. I'm like, damn, the Darkhold, that was definitely in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I was curious and I had to look up, like, okay, like where else has the Darkhold popped up? And it's only been in WandaVision, right? And obviously Doctor Strange, but then before that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then it popped up in Runaways, which I never watched.
Oh, so I never watched Runaways either.
Yeah, so a quick breakdown. In Runaways, Morgan Le Fay tried to bring the dark dimension to the Earth plane with the Darkhold. That didn't work out, so that was one time. And then in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you see the Darkhold, but then it gets taken to hell by S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ghost Rider. And then that was the last time we saw or heard of it until now, which is pretty crazy to think about when you realize how powerful that book and those spells actually are.
Yeah, it's fucked. I It also I love that the Darkhold, just part of me that like grew up watching Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. I love that the Darkhold was part of this movie just based on the book from Evil Dead being like and Sam Raimi doing all of them. I love that a book was still the center of all the fucking the corruption and necrotic shit in the world. I love that Sam Raimi got to do a fucking Marvel movie and still make the bad guy book.
Yeah, no, he definitely did a lot of like, you know, familiar stuff when it comes to you know, his movies. But okay, let's finally jump into it. And
let's jump into it.
Yeah, and help me along the way, because I'm just gonna try to guide this based off memory. I watched this yesterday, and I've done a lot of things since then. But like I mentioned earlier, the movie opens up with them in the Gap Junction, which is like the place in between universes.
I guess all universes have a way to get into the Gap Junction or something.
Yeah, and we see America Chavez and Defender Doctor Strange, right? That's the outfit that he's wearing. You know, it's if you see him from the Defenders, that's
sick. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so you see that, and I just assume, right, as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's been a minute since we've seen him, so maybe he just has like an outfit change, right? And then they're being chased by this demon covered in runes. And there's this struggle, right? They're trying to get to the Book of Ashanti, and he's trying to contain the beast. And he tells America Chavez, he's like, "Yo, like, I need to take your powers. Like, you can't contain it." And she's kind of realizing, oh shit, like, this is the guy that I thought was going to help me, but he's trying to do what this monster is doing. Like, they're trying to capture me and steal my powers. And at that moment, I kind of was like, okay, this isn't our Doctor Strange, because he's a good guy. He wouldn't do that. That's like what I was like processing at that moment. But I thought it was really interesting, because I was like, okay, is this them like foreshadowing? Like, is she going to have to sacrifice herself to save everybody? But I was like, all right, whatever. I'll tuck that in the back, and we'll figure out how this plays out. And you see him get like, you know, impaled, which is like
impaled in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it was like, we see it multiple times, but it's like, wow, they're actually taking these kills to another level, because sometimes they would do stuff like off screen, you'd see just them fall over or whatever, but this time we're seeing blood and just these crazy deaths. And I was like, okay, this is wild. And it's crazy, right? So you see him get impaled, and then America Chavez is like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna try to get the book and figure this out. And as she goes, she gets captured by the beast, and she's about to get wrecked. But then you see her activate her powers, right? And she opens the portal, which is the shape of the star. And it's crazy, because I didn't watching it, I didn't realize, like, you know, I saw, like, you know, obviously Doctor Strange like float in with her, but I didn't think they were going to end up in the same place until obviously like a couple scenes later where it gets revealed. But just that opening scene, I'm like, okay, this movie's gonna be badass. Just seeing Doctor Strange get killed, and obviously we get to see America Chavez like powers like right away, which was cool, because it wasn't one of those things where it's like this long build up and you get to see her for like 2 seconds at the end of the movie. It's just this thing that's kind of, you know, popping in and out throughout the film, which that was pretty cool, because she's we learned that she doesn't have full control of her powers yet.
Yeah, no, yeah, dude, pretty visceral opening scene. Movie was all pretty visceral, and that's why I think it might be pretty easy for us to go through it, because it was so imprinting. Like, while you're describing the whole thing, I was just watching it again. Like, only saw it once, and I could picture literally that entire opening scene. And I even went through the confusion thing, like, are these from fucking Spanish? Given I knew I was in the right theater. But yeah, it was very sick opening scene. I was pretty shocked that they violently killed him like that. But yeah, and then say, I'm trying to think, is the next thing is Doctor Strange getting ready to go to the he like ties his tie and is going to a wedding, and he sits down, and I didn't know if he was at a wedding or a funeral for a second too. And then he has that conversation with one of his colleagues, and they both kind of realize that they, like, he says something like, I haven't seen you around. He's like, well, when you get blipped out for 5 years. And he has that conversation with his colleague where he's like, well, you know, me too. And while I was gone, I lost my cats. And did he say he lost like a brother too or something?
Yeah, his brother.
Yeah. And you realize like how much, like, even the people who got blipped out, like, like so much shit can change for you while you're gone. Like, and then you realize that, oh shit, they're at Christine's wedding, and this is what him getting flipped out has led to, is Christine finding somebody else and getting married. I do, and then his colleague also asked him, like, so this was the only way to do this, right? Like, and you got to wonder how many people in Doctor Strange's life asked him that. Like, it must be like the most common question he gets all the time is like, this was really the only way we could have done this, like this way that has caused so much pain and suffering, like still to this day. Like, I mean, it caused all the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier as well. Which I thought that conversation with him was really cool. And yeah, it was immediately a bummer to watch Christine walking down the aisle and realizing that Strange isn't the guy.
It pissed me off that his former colleague was like, he's just like, like one of the best superheroes in the world, best surgeon in the world, but still couldn't get the girl. And I'm just like, damn, dude, like, yeah. why you have to go?
I forgot he twisted the knife like that.
Yeah, with the low blows. And
what a fucking prick.
And it's just like, dude, okay, like, would you rather have been blipped back in and been able to continue your life? And I get it. It was a hard decision for Doctor Strange, because imagine he's the one that had to bear the weight of seeing every outcome, right? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure, he saw everyone die. He saw himself die. And yes,
the outcome he chose was him dying.
Yeah. Him dying to save everybody. He knew that. Like,
he knew he was one of the ones who gets blipped.
Yeah, and he wasn't some selfish guy who's like, all right, you're all gonna get blipped out. I'm still gonna be here, and we're gonna figure it out. It's like, no, he had to sacrifice himself and hope that everybody was able to play their part to make the one outcome that he saw come to fruition. So, like, I get why people who don't really understand the situation fully would be mad at him, but it's like, dude, chill, like give him a hug, say thank you or something, because without him nobody would be around.
Yeah, but I do, dude, man, the thread in the whole movie that they did such a good job with, and it starts with him saying, best surgeon in the world, best superhero in the world, like, and putting that weight on Doctor Strange for what making that decision. Like, it was Strange's decision in Infinity War that led to everything that happened in Endgame. Like, he knew fucking Natasha was gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, he knew how all that shit was gonna play out. He knew all the people who were gonna be lost because of it. He fucking probably he knew Tony was gonna die.
Yeah, because remember, Tony asked him. Tony was like, he asked him, he's like, is this like, was this the right move? And then he told him, he's like, I can't tell you,
Yeah, because he knew what Tony was going to have to do, and he couldn't risk, getting it in his head. Like, Tony could maybe figure out a different, because if Tony Stark knew going into it he was going to have to sacrifice himself and to live, he would have started trying to figure out a different way. Yeah,
which would have messed up the entire plan.
Which would have messed up the whole plan. Because he knows Tony, he knows Tony's temperament, just via probably watching every outcome that things went. I'm sure he saw outcomes where Tony Stark thinks he knows the best solution, and Tony Stark, usually when he thinks he knows the best solution, he creates the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I liked that, because that conversation he has with his colleague, and then it immediately goes into that conversation with Christine, which I don't know if we've ever talked about the first Doctor Strange very much. And I was just talking to our friend Jim Barron before I got on here, because we were talking about it. He's going to see it, I think, tomorrow. But we were talking about the first Doctor Strange, because he says the first Doctor Strange is mids, and I happen to kind of agree because of two things.
Okay, I'm curious.
They had Rachel McAdams in the leading supporting role in the movie, and she was just a chick in a room. She didn't do anything. You had fucking Rachel McAdams in this movie, and you just had her just stand there. Like, that is such, like, they could have gotten any girl off the street, any young up and coming actress, and given them the opportunity of a lifetime to be in a Marvel movie. Even if they're just standing in the room, it would have done so much for their career. And instead you got Rachel McAdams, fucking powerhouse, Mean Girls Rachel McAdams, to be in this movie, and she does almost nothing. It doesn't even matter that she's really in it. She's just kind of helping the story along a little bit, hardly. And the fact that they didn't let her do anything in the movie really bummed me out. And then also, I liked the villain of Caecilius to a certain extent, but the fact that Mads Mikkelsen is almost always the best thing in any movie he's in. You've seen Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the best thing in Rogue One. For me.
Okay.
Personally. He's like the best thing in Rogue One. Casino Royale. He's like the best thing in Casino Royale. And Daniel Craig's pretty fucking great in Casino Royale, but he is such a good villain. He's such a good villain. He's such a fucking weird looking guy. He is such a weird looking guy. He has such a distinct face. He's so fucking intense. He's so intimidating. He can be so much. And he was just kind of there. He was just kind of, he's a bad guy. Ooh, it was like very, very disappointing to me. And I liked Doctor Strange. I liked I thought that it was a good origin story. It really gave an idea. It explained a bunch of concepts that were brand new to everybody. I went into that movie, came out of it understanding what the Sorcerer Supreme was, understanding how these things worked, understanding the Ancient One and all this different stuff. And I thought Tilda Swinton was fine in it too. But that the fact that they had Mads Mikkelsen as a fucking villain and Rachel McAdams as a supporting role, and they basically just didn't add too much to it, when I know that they are capable of being this incredible presence in other movies. And then Doctor Strange 2, it's like they heard me. They knew what I had an issue with the first one, and they were like, not this one. In that first fucking scene that Rachel McAdams is in, she lines up the entire arc of the story. Like that conversation she has with Strange, the first scene that she has any dialogue in, she starts the story on the path that it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
When she says that line to him, like that you always had to be the one who's holding the knife. Like you always had to be the one who's holding the knife, which I think just for me, that line in particular, knowing my criticism of the first movie, that they didn't do anything with Rachel McAdams. And it was almost like they were acknowledging the fact that in the first movie, they didn't let her do anything because Doctor Strange always had to be holding the knife. And she said, I always respected you for it, but I couldn't love you for it. And he says, how long you have that one in the holster for? And she said, quite some time. For me, that just, if that was all she did in the movie, I would have been like, fucking A. At least they gave her a fucking solid line. They started the story on where it goes. They started this arc of where his character ends up, and they let her have that. And instead, she does a lot more after that. So it's literally like they took my one criticism with the first movie, which is the underutilization of her. And not only did they give her the start of the story arc, they also they continued to use her in a good way. Oh my God.
And correct me if I'm wrong. She, in that conversation, she asks him if he's happy, right?
Yes. Sorry. I'm realizing that Ashton's phone is hooked up to her computer,
mm-hmm.
and she's starting to get text messages, and I'm trying to figure out if I can mute them.
That's totally fine. I can faintly hear them beeping on your side, just coming through your mic, but it's not that big of a deal. It's not like going super loud.
Okay.
But jumping back into just real quick, Doctor Strange, the first one, I enjoyed it because I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. My biggest gripe with it was that Dormammu, I felt like he was portrayed very poorly, and we'll definitely see him again based off of one of the post-credit scenes from Doctor Strange 2, which I assume we'll see him again. But anyways, Doctor Strange, I know there was talk when Christine Palmer got introduced that she could be her night nurse character. That's what everybody was kind of
Mm-hmm.
hoping for. But I think for the amount of screen time that she had in Doctor Strange 2, that it still could be a possibility, right? Obviously the next Doctor Strange will probably be a little more cosmic, just depending on where they decide to go.
I'm thinking so.
But she could still play a role. At least she didn't get X'd out. She didn't really die or anything. She just seems to be just another constant in like the Doctor Strange universe, right? Because like when you look at these movies, there's certain characters that are reoccurring that are in every movie. May not see them in the team up movies, but we all know that they're still there. So maybe she'll just continue to play that role. But yeah, that conversation, I definitely agree with you, was very powerful, and definitely set the tone for what the movie was going to be like after that.
Yeah, no, sorry, I think she fixed it.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Maybe not. I don't know. Oh well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we can rock with it.
I don't want to. I'm thinking for the sake of anybody listening to this, I don't want to be a dinger going.
It's fine. Like I said, it wasn't going like super loud, so it'll definitely be manageable if it happens going forward.
But yeah, so next up is the commotion, and he goes down to hit the street, and he gets that awesome fucking superhero jump out of the window.
Yes, and his little pocket square was his cape.
Was his thing, dude. I love the way he hides his cape, man. I think it's so fucking sick.
Yeah, and that's like that's when I started to realize, like, oh shit, these are the scenes from the trailer, right? Because I was waiting for I thought like my favorite part of that was when he sent that buzzsaw to cut the bus in half. Mm-hmm. I thought that was like one of the coolest parts of that whole fight scene.
Yeah, no, dude. Well, just the casual way he goes about fighting is so sick. I love the way he just kind of just calmly stands there. He doesn't like run. He doesn't really he doesn't do like he really stands his ground typically when he goes up against somebody. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and that was our second glimpse of America Chavez, because the first time we saw her was with the other Doctor Strange, and then I like that he's kind of puzzled because he's like, why does she look so familiar? And he's trying to put it together. He's like, damn, like where have I seen this person before? But it was in his dream, because obviously like after that whole first opening scene, like it cuts to him waking up in bed, and he's like, oh, it was a weird dream. And we come to find out later that those that dreams actually are more important than we think.
Yes.
And I like when obviously in the midst of the fight, Wong shows up, which is always refreshing because he's such a cool character. Because he pops up at the most random times where we don't really expect, but he's always like very helpful with his appearances.
Mm-hmm. I love Wong, dude. That dude, he's that actor is fucking awesome. But yeah, that monster. So the monster that they're fighting, I know it's not the same. I know it's not the same monster from God, fucking Alexa's reminding me to change my cat litter right now. I know the monster's not the same one from Guardians, but it really reminded me of that interdimensional monster from Guardians 2 that they're fighting at the beginning. And they say that monster is capable of moving through dimensions and whatnot, which I thought that was pretty interesting. Okay, Alexa, I'll take the trash out tonight.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people thinking that it was Shimogorath, but it's actually Gargantos, which is like figured out because there was like a set of toys that came out and actually named the monster.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember you saying that when we talked last about what one of the speculations you were having for Doctor Strange, and I'd never heard of Shimogorath. Is that the name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd never heard, and you were like, oh, and then it wasn't. So maybe someday I'll find out.
Yeah, my path with Shimogorath started because I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and that monster is in there, and then I was like, okay, cool. Like I never knew what this thing was. But yeah, so that opening fight scene happens, and it was pretty cool because you get to see. And one thing that I thought was kind of funny was it seemed like a lot of the civilians were so like desensitized, right? Because you see the wedding party come to the balcony
to watch.
Yeah, they're oh, that's so cool. Not like shrieking in terror. They're just kind of still sipping their drinks, just enjoying the fight scene.
Think about how fucked up that is.
Yeah,
that's so fucked up.
Yeah, because they're so used to it, right? Being in New York, so much fucked up things have happened from the Battle of New York to now that everybody's just kind of like, all right, well, here we go again.
Yeah, you see that and you go, are there aliens? No, it's just that. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
No reason to take a break. No reason to I'm not even going to punch out for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was cool to see Doctor Strange use some spells that we haven't seen before. Because like the way he actually ended up killing Gargantos was like, you know, casting that spell to see those floating hands grab that like light pole. I thought that was like pretty cool. I was like, oh, he's definitely been working on his craft and pulling out a variety of spells, except for like the same basic ones we've seen.
Dude, my entire theater groaned when it got fucking stabbed in the eye.
Yeah.
And then the eye falls out. It was so fucking gross looking. My like the whole theater was like, oh, like everybody was like grossed out by it. It was awesome. Sam Raimi, fantastic job, man.
Yeah, and I'm just curious. They didn't really show the cleanup, but like, does like Wong just set a portal to take the body away, or like, or is this the who was Vulture working for? I forgot the name of the company in Spider-Man. Where they do all the cleanup. But it's like, yeah, it's like, here we go again, like another alien, you know, foreign being.
What do you do with interdimensional bio waste? Like that seems like something you need to discard of carefully.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But then from there, it cuts to the rooftop scene with Wong.
She shows him dead Strange.
Yeah, because they don't they're kind of questioning her. They're like, oh, like how do we like, you know, believe what you're saying is true? And she's like, oh, here, look at this. And then she just has the Defender Strange just dead. And then it was pretty interesting how he just decided to bury himself, and he kind of had that line. He's like, don't worry, like I've buried worse. And it's like, wait, buried worse? That's literally yourself from another universe. Like, what else have you buried that could be worse? That just had me kind of puzzled. I'm like, oh, this guy is really crazy that we just don't really think about how like evil he can be.
Yeah, that shit was great. And then from there, I'm trying to think, do they go to Carmitage next?
Yeah, because they're talking about how they can try to protect her, and they're trying to seek out help because they're like, all right, but we're getting all these things, and we need to hit somebody up. Because and then they realize that on those they realize on those monsters that they're runes, and they're like, all right, like I know a person, and that's where we see Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch have their first interaction, where it was pretty intense because I didn't really think it was going to get that crazy that fast. I thought it was going to be a little more peaceful, but that conversation was pretty wild.
Yeah, I was not thinking that she was going to be the bad guy. I'm sure you knew because you're a fucking spoiler guy reading everything beforehand. But I did not know that, and I fucking couldn't believe they got there in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
You know, funny enough, I didn't read any spoilers for this movie.
No shit.
Shit. Yeah, the first one, the
same way.
Yeah, but
so you didn't know. Based on the previews, it makes it look like they're allies.
That they're fighting some greater evil.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
no.
It's like surprise. It's just like, yeah, it hit me when she said America Chavez's name, and
see. I like Wanda. I argued for her in my head. I went, oh, well, she can like read minds and shit. And like, she gets in people's heads. Like maybe she just knew her name. And then when she said, I didn't say her name, did I? I went, oh, you bitch. I was even like defending you in my head. Like just now, like I heard you say it and I was like, oh no, I'm sure there's a way she knew. Like, but then part of me was saying like, did he say her name? No. And then she fucking is evil. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, because you see him, he just kind of like takes a step back and he's not like, right next to her anymore. And he realizes that, oh shit, like you're the one that's like after her, putting all the hexes on those monsters. And she's trying to, and this is where like I kind of enjoy the conversation because they're kind of having this back and forth where he's trying to tell her like, yo, like what you're trying to do is nothing different than what our enemies have done in the past. And then she's arguing that he's a hypocrite for, giving the reality, or excuse me, the time stone to Thanos. And there's like this weird, like, like moral standoff. And didn't agree with Scarlet Witch. I don't think Doctor Strange was a hypocrite, right? Because he did what he did to save everybody. It was like a necessary evil, but like he saw like the big picture. It wasn't, that move wasn't gonna. It's not like he was siding with Thanos. He had to do this to enable the events, following after to happen to basically get the win. But for what she was trying to do is she was trying to sacrifice one kid for her happiness, which I thought was very selfish.
But she sees what he did specifically as giving Thanos the tool that he needed to bring back Vision and do it again and kill him again. Like that's like directly, like you can draw a direct line from him handing Thanos the Time Stone to Thanos turning back time, bringing Vision back, only to rip Vision's thing out of his head. And there's even a part of me that thinks that maybe in Doctor Strange's order of events that he saw when he gave Thanos the Time Stone, if in that order of events Scarlet Witch didn't kill Vision. Like if maybe he had known that factor was going to happen, that could have been one of those unforeseen lines that like could have been different. Because if that stone's gone, Thanos isn't able to do the whole thing.
Kind of, because okay, wait, hey, and this is jumping ahead, but when
he's still ultra powerful, he's still got,
yeah, because when you look,
he's still got 4 of them.
When you jump to, yeah, because when you jump forward in the movie and we get to 838 and you see what they had to do to kill Thanos. There's that image of them, and I had to get better vision of this through like a breakdown, because obviously I was watching in real time, so I couldn't like pause it and watch. But there's that scene where Thanos is dead, and you see that he has only the 4 stones. He doesn't have Vision Stone, but he was still able to do so much without it. So some people are like, "Oh, did Vision live? Where is he? Like, what's going on?" But they still had to go to drastic lengths to defeat him. So I just think that
maybe this is the way they lost less people.
Yeah, because either way, people are gonna die, right? But it's like, do you want to die and have us all survive? Right? Obviously, there's gonna be some loss of life, but for
that's true. That's true, because if Thanos doesn't, because when Thanos snaps out half the universe that does get brought back, he leaves.
Yeah.
If Thanos doesn't snap out half the universe, he stays, and he keeps fighting. And he'll try to take that half the universe by any means. So
I'm just curious.
So yeah, you're right. I think if he doesn't, if it's not, Wanda's not wrong to blame Strange, but Strange also, I mean, the amount of people who would have been killed and couldn't be brought back would have been astronomical if Thanos doesn't get that stone and get the easy win. Because if he takes the hard win, it's forever. When he takes that easy win, they're able to bring half the people back.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. But she's also not wrong. Or at least she's wrong, but it's understandable.
Okay, I'll take that, because if the shoe was on the other foot, right? If I was Scarlet Witch, I would totally do what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's when my coworker Kelly, who I talked to about all these movies, she went and saw it with her family yesterday, and she said like halfway through the movie when she's on the rampage, Kelly said her mom looked at her and said, "If anything happened to you girls, I would do the same thing." And she was like, "Mom, are you serious?" Like, yeah, absolutely.
So yes, I'm gonna go speak to the devil and get all these dark powers, and be able to fight to get you back.
Yeah. So I feel it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, man,
but
dude,
the reveal was insane because
it's awesome.
because first of all, my question was like, where the fuck are they? Because everything is just red and desolated, and you're just like, this is like how did Doctor Strange even find her? That was like really trippy to me. But when you saw her updated costume, I don't know if you noticed, like right at like the neckline, there was like this cutout which looked like it would fit the Mind Stone that Vision had, which I thought was really like a cool touch. It was like kind of like, you know, just like paying tribute to.
Oh, that's sick. I didn't notice that. I thought her fucking costume looked great though.
Yeah, I loved that design because like all the other ones I thought were just like super cheesy and just kind of whack. But this one I was like, okay, this one feels like Scarlet Witch. She's badass.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing. It was like so much of her costumes looked like, oh, they're trying to ground her in reality. They're trying to ground her in reality. I get it. And then in WandaVision, we got to see the classic Scarlet Witch costume that she wears for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome. And then this one was like she now understands what she is. She's seen what she is because she's gotten the visions of the Scarlet Witch, and she knows what she's supposed to look like. And now she's manifesting this look because this is the prophecy of her, which is so sick. So sick.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of funny that she was like, you know, you have till sundown to turn her in. And I'm like, why is she waiting till sundown? Like, what's the significance of that? It just reminded me like some like old like Western film, right? We're gonna have
It's very very Wizard of Oz.
It's funny that you say that because I was watching this breakdown and they're like, you could compare this movie to Wizard of Oz, and they showed all the comparisons, like, you know, going back and forth. I'm like, wow, that really makes so much sense. Like, this is kind of spot on. It's pretty interesting.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised Raimi did a bunch of fun things with this movie. But yeah, is the next scene the assault that she brings?
You see them cut back to Carmitage, and then you realize like, okay, like Doctor Strange is definitely not turning her in. Like, we gotta you know, prepare. And then you see everybody getting ready, and then you even see the people from Hong Kong and London portal in, which was like a cool callback. And this is like this ongoing thing throughout the movie, and you see them bow to the Sorcerer Supreme, right? And Wong is trying to tell Doctor Strange like, yo, it's tradition, and he's just kind of looking at him like, you're crazy, I'm not bowing to you. And then obviously that stays there for the rest of the movie. But it was pretty wild because like the whole time I'm thinking like, wow, all these, you know, trainees are preparing to fight and defend the whole Carmitage against Scarlet Witch. Like, this isn't smart. I wish that Doctor Strange and Wong had some better foresight, because I felt like there was just a lot of unnecessary loss of life. I felt maybe they could have just portaled to somewhere else. Like, yeah, Scarlet Witch knew that they were in Carmitage, right? But it's like, dude, they had their sling rings. They could have gone anywhere else, but they decided to stay and fight it out. And if it wasn't for that one weak ass soldier, they would have been okay. Which was like, I was like, please, I was like, nobody fold, right? And because
dude, when she starts zapping and the shields are up, and then she just starts looking, I was like, oh, this is so scary. This is so scary. I would be so terrified. Like, if I'm doing this thing and I'm defending against you and you're attacking and we're holding, and I'm like, okay, we got this, and then you just stop and just start looking at us. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You're getting in my head too. Because I'm thinking, what is she looking at?
Yeah.
What is she doing?
I would be like, don't pick me. Don't pick me. I'd be holding the shield. Yeah.
That was fucking awesome. Oh, dude, the way she just comes out from behind him too.
Yeah, super creepy. Like another cool like horror element.
All the projection stuff that she does in the movie is just looked so creepy, so scary, so cool. Oh God, yeah. She just says run.
Yeah, that's all she had to say was run. She didn't try to scream in his ear or do anything. All she said was run, and that fool took off, and their whole defense just collapsed after that. It was so bad,
dude. And she just scorched earth, man. She fucks them up.
You know, I thought they had a chance again when that character Sarah brought out the cannon they just like
Mhm.
teleported the cannons in. I'm like, okay, cool, this is like gonna work. But then
Those things were cool as fuck looking too.
yeah, but then quickly you kind of realize like, oh, it's still Scarlet Witch. Those cannons ain't doing shit against her.
Yeah, she's gonna pick one up and throw it at the other one, and that's the end.
Yeah, and that one scene where you realize like, holy shit, like Scarlet Witch is like brutal, is where it's like a shot, like the angles, like the guy on the ground crawling in like agony, and then Scarlet Witch like lands and she just zaps him, right, just disintegrates. And you can look at that at two ways, like her being really evil, just wanting to disintegrate,
Or her putting something out of their misery.
yeah, exactly. So it's just like, which way do you want to take it? And it's kind of like left
Dude,
for you to decide.
there's so many just burned out bodies. This is fucking horrifying.
Yeah, and then when you see her walking through Carmitage and you see the rubble and how much destruction she caused, you're just like, geez, like this was like just filled with like a bunch of soldiers and like weapons.
And it was like a few minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Like within a few minutes, she just devastates the place. Oh, that part was sick. And then so they're barricaded in, and then she starts dropping people through the ground using the reflection.
Oh yeah, because Doctor Strange locked her in a portal because he's trying to like buy time for them to get out. And yeah, I don't know how she realized that she could use the reflections, but that was pretty crazy because yeah, the one guy got pulled and Doctor Strange was like, she's using the reflections, so they all started like covering the reflections. And one of my favorite scenes, because America Chavez, she goes to cover it and she sees like the eyes or whatever, and then when she breaks out of the mirror and it's like the girl from The Ring, like how
she broke out of a gong.
Oh, was it a gong? Okay, I thought it was the mirror.
She comes out of a gong, but yeah, no, she looked like the girl from The Ring.
Yeah, she was like
fucking sick,
dude. All like contorted and just like weird looking. I was like, this is crazy because that just seemed really dark, and I was like, this is badass.
It was so scary looking. It was so cool. God, it was so sick.
Yeah, and this was the first time where I'm like, okay, it's gonna be over, or we're gonna get a cameo from somebody badass. So that was honestly something I was waiting for the whole time. That I was like, please, like Sam Wilson with your new like ability, somebody. I was thinking, who's like, is Hawkeye gonna pop up? Like, who's gonna help? That was the first time I thought it was gonna happen because they're backed into a corner. I thought they were gonna get caught, but this is where you realize, like, okay, America Chavez is gonna kind of take them where they need to go for the first time. But also, this is where like the panic set in. Like, holy shit! Like Wong got left behind because America Chavez is getting like, her powers sucked out of her. Which I was kind of wondering, like, does she gain it all back when the sucking stops, or is she like a little weaker? But the portal opens and Doctor Strange is smart enough to like, all right, I got to tackle her through to save her from getting caught, and that's how the group gets split.
Yeah, no, I'll say this: almost the entire time I wasn't hoping for a cameo, because any cameo I knew she would just kill him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because the whole time I was racking my brain. I'm like, who could show up and help put up a fight? And literally nobody. Nobody.
They just get killed.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, yeah, nobody could come up and like help. It's crazy.
The Vision could help.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only person who could possibly help. Like, no one's talking her out of this. But yeah, no, it was fucking sick. And then they get pulled through. That's when they go through all the different
like universes.
That part was sick. The music changed. That was one of the things my coworker pointed out, was every universe had its different music. The music kept shifting, and the sounds were really different everywhere they went. Those were really cool. I'm sure there's like, I haven't watched any of the breakdown videos. I'm sure every single one of those universes had a significance. I can't.
I watched some of them and it's all like speculative. Like, nobody really knows. Okay. But
Gotcha.
Real quick on the music, I didn't realize that it was done by Danny Elfman until after the fact.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing his name now.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was good. And it was also a cool Marvel movie with not too much pop culture, like pop music in it. Like they didn't rely heavy on that. It was a big score movie that I thought that was cool. But yeah, then they end up landing in that final universe.
which yeah, it was 838. Which
838. Okay, I couldn't remember which number it was.
Yeah, it was 838, and I would have been just like Doctor Strange, thinking that the rules of my universe applies everywhere else. Because when they were down on the street, he was about to walk on green, but
Yeah,
realized
it's like, oh, we walk on red here.
yeah, which was like kind of funny, and it was funny too. With it seemed like America Chavez was messing with him because she was like kind of telling him about the rules. She only got to 2 rules, whatever. But when she shows up with the pizza balls, and she was like, "Yeah, in most universes, food's free. Like, I don't know why they charge in yours."
Dude, that was my ass was fucking yelling for that part. I was the only one in the theater when she said that. When I went, yes, yes. I was like, fuck yes. And then it turns out it's not free there either.
Yeah, and then I didn't realize till after the fact who the pizza balls guy was.
Oh yeah, it's Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, because it hit me at the second post credit scene, which we'll get to. Which I was like, oh shit! I was like, I know who that is, but in the beginning, I was just like so focused on trying to keep up with the story that it didn't even hit me that it was him.
As soon as I heard his voice, I was like, oh, of course, fucking Sam Raimi had to fucking squeeze this motherfucker in here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was awesome. Okay, so we're coming up on the only part of the movie that I went to pee during.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I'm trying to think. So, how do they end up caught?
So they're talking and eating cheese balls, and they're trying to figure out how to get back to Wong, because like their focus is Wong, and then
they go to look. They go to the
sanctum, because they're like, we need to
sanctum,
find the other me, because the other him was the dead Defender Strange.
Yeah.
So this one's like, yeah, we need to find the other me. Then they show up to the sanctum. They discover the
Strange is dead.
Yeah, they discover the statue. They're like, oh, gave his life to defeating Thanos. Mordo comes out and he tells America Chavez, he's just like, yo, like this guy wanted to kill me in my universe, so just be prepared. But then it's all love. He's like hugging him. He's like, brother, like you told me that this day would come, that the other you would come to meet me. Like, come in. So they go into the sanctum, and he explains his story about how they're being chased and they need to save themselves, save America Chavez from Scarlet Witch. But come to find out that they got dosed. They drank this tea that was made with the sands of Nisanti, which disables sorcery for a certain amount of time. So that's when you realize, like, holy shit, Mordo's still evil. Even in this universe, he's not a good guy.
Well, no, he's not evil. He's just doing what Strange told him to do. He's doing what Strange would have done.
You think so? Okay, hold on. We'll get to that. So that's how they get caught. So then it cuts to them in the box, and then that's where you see the reveal of their Christine, which I was kind of surprised. I was like, damn, she showed up at this like Baxter building, and but it also kind of showed me like, yeah, she definitely loves him, because for her to stick around and still be a part of like this whole thing, like even if in his world in 616 she won't admit it, like it's there.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I think it's the same. I think he had the same. I saw a funny meme that was it was a picture of Doctor Strange and Christine, and it said in every universe Doctor Strange has no bitches, and I thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in every universe he's the one who had to hold the knife, and she could respect him for it, but she couldn't love him for it. And I think that's the issue that and that's where you say Strange wouldn't have told Mordo to do that. I think that every other Strange is different than our Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Every other Strange is different than the 616 Strange, and the 616 Strange is just uniquely able to learn from his mistakes, whereas most of the other Stranges always think they have the right answer. And given it might be the fact that our Strange is getting this master class in what all the other Stranges do wrong,
mm-hmm.
that he's able to remember that he's fallible. But I think Mordo clearly was trained by Strange and would have distrusted this situation. And also because they put together that council or whatever, he would have immediately thought like, well, I've got to bring this to the council and I've got to bring this to them to figure out what the right path is for this, because one person shouldn't make these decisions. And that's what their Strange realized before that he passed, was that one person shouldn't be trying to do all of this alone. It should be a collective effort, which is every universe is dealing with the repercussions of something that their Strange saw as the right thing to do after it was too late.
Now, skipping ahead just a little bit, we'll get to that council talk in a second, but did I just drink our Strange's Kool-Aid? Because there was that scene where he was just like, you tried to kill me in my universe. Did you plot to give your Strange the Darkhold just so you could get my spot on the council? Like you're you're still evil. I don't remember the exact conversation because I saw the movie yesterday and I don't have the script, but do you remember that scene where he's going at him?
That's exactly what he says.
So I took that to be real, that Mordo did all that to get rid of Strange. He kind of set him up.
I don't think so. I think he was just goading Mordo off of the thing because he couldn't do anything to him while he was up there. He was trying to get Mordo mad. He was trying to get Mordo down.
Okay.
Because there's also a moment where Strange realizes that he can't bargain with Mordo.
Yeah. So
he's going to goad him instead.
Oh, okay. See, and this is me writing for our Strange, right? So I'm like, yeah, he's telling the truth. Like you got your Strange killed.
No, okay. I think that Mordo was good, and I think that Mordo was good because different circumstances happened in his universe to not pull him down a dark path. Because it's just all love. It's all love when he sees that Strange. He doesn't kill him.
Yeah, because he easily could have just offed him when he drank the tea.
Yeah. He could have just killed him and not told anybody that either of them showed up. If he was really evil, but he wanted to figure out the best thing to do because he's still respected and he has love for his Strange.
Okay, got it. See, now that makes more sense, because the whole time I was thinking, no, he was secretly evil. I'm like,
and if your best friend dies and you're trying to carry forth his ideas and his designs and do right by him, and then this other version of him is sitting here calling into question your loyalty, your friendship, your love for this guy, you're going to go fist fight this motherfucker.
Yeah, true. It
worked.
It's 838 versus everybody else. You can't trust anybody from any other universe. Okay. All right. So cutting back to them being captured, and then you see Doctor Strange.
This is when I peed.
So Doctor Strange is questioning. No, they're already captured. So he's talking to
I'm
Christine.
When they wake up in the cubes, that's when I peed.
Oh, so you didn't see the conversation with him and Christine? He was.
I saw the end of it. I saw where they said the 616 and 31 and 838 or whatever. I saw that part. Yeah,
because he's questioning her like what are you gonna do to us? And he's trying to bargain with her. He's like, hey, this is the real situation. Like, cool, about other universes, because that's what she's in charge of, monitoring the events of people coming in and out. And he's like, yo, I'm trying to tell you, you need to let us out, because we're gonna try to save this kid, and you guys can't stop the Scarlet Witch. And then he's questioning like what is this? Are you guys Shield, the Avengers? Is this Hydra? And then Mordo steps in, is like, no, this is the Illuminati. And then he's like, the Illuminati what? And that's when I'm like, holy shit, it's actually going down. Because cutting back to the Super Bowl trailer, right? Remember when I had hit you up? I'm like, dude, did you see the trailer where that's where they showed that shot of Doctor Strange down, and then you hear the voice of Patrick, what's his name? Patrick Stewart, and you're like, holy shit, it's happening. Finally it's happening. And then that's when I started to get amped up. I'm like, this is it. Because you see him walking through with the Ultron Sentry soldiers, and you're like, we're actually going to see it. This is actually about to go down. And when he's there kind of talking, and it's the first action, right? You see Captain Britain's shield get thrown, and I'm like, dude, this is like for anybody who didn't watch What If, I'm like, I kind of feel bad, because I felt like so many things made sense because I watched What If. So when you see Captain Carter, I was like, that's crazy. And they like introduce her like, oh, the first Avenger. And then I automatically start thinking, I'm like, oh, who else is an Avenger in this universe? Because if she's the leader, that's cool. But I wonder who else she recruited. And then as they went down the line, I was blown away because
I couldn't believe they brought back the guy who played Black Bolt in Inhumans.
I got so excited because, dude, after that Inhumans debacle, they just scrubbed Inhumans, right? But for them to have the same actor and to have him look that badass up there,
he looked great.
I was so excited. I'm like, okay, cool. At least they're open to talking about Inhumans like on such a big scale again, that I was like, it had me so stoked. They made him look so badass. I was like, this is so sick.
He looked great. They really fucked it up because he actually, like, in Inhumans, I didn't think he was too bad in it.
Mm-hmm.
The show sucked.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that he was too bad in it.
But maybe that's why they brought him back. Because
he was probably one of the best parts of it. And the most frustrating thing is that fucking dude from Game of Thrones, Ramsay Bolton, in it, wasn't that great in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's amazing in everything he's in.
Yeah.
So it was very frustrating watching that show and feeling like it was a sci-fi original, but like a bad one.
Mm-hmm. And then it goes down right to Captain Marvel, which is like, oh, it's a Maria Rambeau, and you're like, oh, cool. Like that was like highly speculated, so I wasn't too surprised by that. Mm-hmm. But then when Mordo introduces the next person, he's like, oh, this is the smartest man in the. And before he could even say universe, I'm like, is this really fucking happening? And then you see,
I couldn't fucking believe
it,
dude.
When the portal opens and it's John Krasinski, I'm like, he really got casted as fucking Reed Richards. Holy shit! And I was like I just couldn't believe that it was real. I'm like, this is fucking so sick. I was so pumped up. And they start like explaining, to Doctor Strange, like, yo, like, you're the problem, right? Like, you cause all this shit. Like, you literally killed off an entire universe because of, your dealings with the Darkhold. And then I don't remember exactly at what point in the conversation, but then they kind of, introduce like, oh, and here's like the last, or they said like the sixth member or whatever. And then in comes wheeling, like, Professor X. And I don't know if you caught it, but this was like, he used the same color scheme as the 90s cartoon, like with like the yellow wheelchair, the green suit. And like, as he's wheeling in, like you can faintly hear the X-Men theme. And I'm just like, this is fucking badass. This is so sick because I love the X-Men and the fact that like we're going to get an X-Men Marvel Studios movie. This is like something I've wanted for a really long time. It just got me so pumped. And then when you see him like roll in and like introduce himself, you're like, this is actually happening. The fucking Illuminati's there. Black Bolt, which I still cannot believe. And then even just seeing Reed Richards, I was just completely blown away at that whole scene and just them interacting with Doctor Strange. It was just this like mind-blowing thing because that was like the first time since they've acquired Fox where we get to see these interactions. Mm-hmm. So it was like for me, like this like crazy moment. But I'm just curious about as this is all unfolding. Like what are you thinking,
bro? I was losing my fucking mind. I was being so obnoxious. Big surprise. Sky's blue and water's wet, and I was obnoxious. But when Krasinski shows up, I was like, yo, what the fuck? And then so I knew Patrick Stewart was in it because somebody at fucking work let it slip because I haven't watched any of the previews since like I didn't even see that one where you talked about hearing Patrick Stewart's voice. I was off previews at that point. I was like, I don't care to see anything more. I'm just going to see the movie and I don't want anything more given to me. And then, but I had somebody tell me like they saw like the X wheelchair or whatever. And I was like, oh fuck, that's pretty fucking cool. All right. Mm-hmm. And then when that happened, I was like, yo, this is how they're fucking giving us this right now. Like, I was fucking blown away, man. I was thrilled. I was absolutely, and that was the moment where I was like, I'm reading a fucking comic book right now. Mm-hmm. I was like, I turned the page and all these characters just showed up. Like I had no idea these characters were showing up. And then I turned the page and then this happened. Like that was the point where I was like, damn, that was the point where that movie really felt like Spider-Man did to me. Mm-hmm. And I had that wonder, that feeling of wonder that I go to these movies to feel.
And in that conversation, you hear John Krasinski use this word incursion, which is like this reoccurring word throughout the film. and then you kind of realize like, okay, this is definitely how they're going to fold in like the mutants with this incursion where two universes collide, and obviously like one has to lose. And I'm like, okay, that was interesting, because it was always the big question, like, how are they going to bring mutants in, because this shit has been going on for so long, or are they just going to randomly appear? It's like, no, now we're going to have these universes collide, and then we're going to fold into one new universe.
Yep.
So that made me happy.
I think there's going to be where they say like there's an incursion in one universe destroys the other one or something like that. There's going to be an incursion and they're going to save both.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to happen, is there's going to be an incursion and there's going to be a situation where rather than lose one of them, they're just going to become one. And that's how we're going to end up with this incorporation of all of the things together.
So that happens, and it was like this holy shit moment gets interrupted by Scarlet Witch showing up, right? And she starts to fuck everybody up. But as
before that, she takes the body.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm skipping around. I can't believe
that part was fucked up.
I can't believe that they had to reveal, because Stephen Strange asked, he's like, yo, like, what's up with the memorial statue? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yo, like, we got to tell you what really happened. And then Professor X shows Stephen Strange. He was like, hey, like,
Black Bolt.
Yeah, he was like, hey, you took upon the Darkhold, you killed off this other entire universe, and you used those powers to help defeat Thanos, but you killed off an entire universe. Like, we have to off you. Like, we can't just let you be about after doing something so heinous. So I don't know why they chose Black Bolt, because I think any other person could have killed him, but maybe that was the easiest way. But he just whispers, I'm sorry, and just annihilates Doctor Strange, which is
fucking awesome, dude.
Which is crazy. And then you kind of realize, like, holy shit, they're just like the normal Illuminati. They're lying to the general public about what's really going on. And you're like, huh, that's strange how that works out. This a secret group that's like pulling the veil over everybody's eyes. But then you're right, and then it cuts to Scarlet Witch. She's dream walking.
Well, Wong takes her to the place where the Darkhold was transcribed from.
Yeah,
they realize those monsters come out. They think they're gonna have to fight him. Then they just bow to Scarlet Witch. She realizes that, oh, this isn't a fucking like altar. This is a throne. Mm-hmm. And then she reads the fucking runes, and Dream walks into her fucking body. Which, dude, me and Ashton were talking about afterwards, like how fucking cool that scene is and how fucking scary it was.
Mm-hmm. Because it was like it was like super like voyeuristic, with like her just kind of creeping through the house, like watching the family, and 838 Scarlet Witch could sense that something was there, and it was off.
Mm-hmm. And she looks at the coffee cup, and it's like an ocean.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Was so fucking cool. And then all the pictures start looking. That part fucking creeped me out too. That part was awesome.
But I thought it was awesome, like when Scarlet Witch completes the dream walk and takes over the 838 Scarlet Witch's body, and then she looks at the camera, she breaks the fourth wall, and you're kind of like, oh shit, like she knows we're here. And then she just kind of goes about, and you're like, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, dude, Raimi did so many fucking classic Raimi things during the movie, and I feel like that was one of them. Dude, the way those talking about like just the filmmaking for that scene too, I really like the camera work with when she is getting taken, the way the camera would like fall with her, mm-hmm. the way like she would like stumble and like the camera would stumble with her, and like the way it was like it was so disorienting. It was so cool. I really, dude, I was so impressed with the way the movie visually stimulated you and like made you we've been watching bits and pieces of the Tony Hawk documentary on HBO in the morning before I leave for work, and Ashton was making fun of me because we were watching it, and I was like moving in my seat, like watching skateboarding, like I couldn't help it. And I felt like that was like a thing this movie did, was like it made me like move, like you're playing like Mario Kart or something, like you like the camera would shift and you feel yourself like leaning with it. And I thought it was so cool. Anytime a movie can make you like actually change your composure, like it was so cool. It was, and that's just good filmmaking. That's good camera work. Like that's just visually stimulating to the point where it's physically stimulating. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I watched it in a 4DX theater, so it actually, forced that on you. So
Sure.
so it felt like you were like, oh, like, okay, this is what they want. We're shifting all over. It's pretty crazy.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, dude, I can't imagine that movie in 3D. I would have probably thrown up.
No, it's 4DX. So it's
4D.
Yeah. So it's just like it was getting so crazy that like I had to hold my cup down in the cup holder because it was like the rumblings and everything was so intense. It was pretty wild.
So wait, 4DX, is that 3D with
no
like
no 3D? It's just like trying to
no 3D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like the seats are on like a gyro thing, so they move, and then like there's like they'll like spray water on you and stuff at certain points. So like when they were like getting we're getting there, but like when they're getting chased by Scarlet Witch under those tunnels, like there was like water, like I'm not even kidding, big water droplets coming down on me. Like I was pissed off. I was like, I hate this. I never want to do this again. I think that might be the last time.
That's so fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying, but they try to bring you into the experience.
Bro, Jamie, your life is fucking incredible. God damn it. I've never been to a theater. I think we have one theater here that does that at the mall. I think the theater that's at the mall has the 4DX thing.
You got to try it once.
I thought when the 4DX, I thought it was 3D with other shit.
No, I can't do that because I get motion sickness, so I couldn't.
I get sleepy.
Oh, we're sleepy? That's weird.
3D makes me sleepy. The last 3D movie I saw, I went and saw when they did all of the Star Wars movies in 3D.
Okay.
Or all the OG, or like the not the OG, the prequel in 3D. We went and saw Phantom Menace in 3D, and I fell asleep during my favorite part of the movie.
Dang, so it takes a toll on you then.
Yeah, like I was like my favorite part of the movie in this, because it's so dark.
Mm-hmm.
The 3D glasses make everything so dark, so I just just couldn't keep my eyes open. I just nodded off during the Starfighter scene. That's like my favorite scene in the movie. But yeah. So she takes the body. She shows up at the Illuminati, and they decide that they've got this.
And before we get to the big fight scene, right? Black Bolt, Captain Marvel, Captain Britain, and Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, they all run off, right? So that leaves Professor X and Mordo, and I don't know why, but I teared up at that point when Professor X started cheering on Doctor Strange. He was like, yo, like, you gotta go find the Book of Ashanti. You left a waypoint, like it's there for you. And then he says this quote that it stuck out to me for some reason, and I went and looked it up and found out that he said this quote in Days of Future Past to himself. Like Professor X said it to the James McAvoy version, like the younger version of himself. He said, just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. And that hit me so hard because he saw what his Doctor Strange did, but he believes in the words that he says, right? Like that quote.
He also can see the Doctor Strange in front of him for the person he is.
Yes.
Like that's one of my favorite things about Professor X is Professor X immediately knows your heart.
Yeah.
He can see it.
So he said that quote, and I don't know. Yeah, I just started tearing up. I was just like, dude, awesome. This is so fucking
Days
sick.
of Future Past fucking rocks.
Best X-Men movie to this day.
It's fucking awesome, dude. It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I fucking agree. I love First Class too. I love First Class, but fucking Days of Future Past is fucking incredible, dude. Just the Magneto Professor X storyline that they weave in First Class and Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse to a certain extent, even though, God damn it, that movie could have been so much better than it was. The Magneto storyline is still phenomenal.
Yeah, Fassbender did an amazing job.
Michael Fassbender, dude. Also, one of the greatest looking guys ever.
Yeah, bring him back, please.
Fuck, dude. Oh, please. If they're going to bring X-Men in. I'm fucking fine with McAvoy coming back.
Mhm.
I am fucking more than fine with Fassbender coming back. I would love that.
Yeah, I think
I
those are
would love that so
just give me
much.
those two, right? And anybody else, I don't care.
Anybody else can be recast. The dude who played Beast was pretty good.
Yeah, he was
But-
awesome.
But I kind of rather like a
Bulkier.
bulkier beast.
I get it, yeah.
Like a chubbier beast, like a shorter beast. But yeah, all X movie aside, I didn't realize that line was also in that one. That's fucking awesome. Raimi did a fantastic job.
Yeah, that was such a good callback, and it made me happy too, because that whole time he's getting persecuted, and I'm like, are they really gonna kill him off? Like, are they not going to let him, proceed? But then it's just like, okay, it's like, it seemed like the whole council was against him except for Professor X. He had the one person that was cheering him on, and that was enough for me to be like, all right, hell yeah. Like, it's not all bad, right?
Yeah, no, dude. And fucking, so then the next thing is the fight scene, and Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh my God.
That is some of the most gruesome shit Marvel's ever done.
And this is okay. And you got to think, right? That team all together couldn't take out Thanos. They needed the Darkhold to, like, all right, this whole team, it had to be like some of the strongest to survive. Cool. But then you look at Scarlet Witch, she comes in and just annihilates all of them like super easy. And okay, so first off, Black Bolt, that was probably like, during the whole fight scene, I still couldn't get over what had happened to Black Bolt, because I'm on
Me either.
I'm on this high, hell yeah, Black Bolt's here and humans are back, and I'm like, he's gonna kick her ass. Like, we're gonna get to see, because when he flies in and you see his little wingsuit and stuff, I'm like, dude, this is so badass. And they're also cocky because they don't realize how strong Scarlet Witch actually is, and
because their Wanda might not have been that powerful.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Well, definitely not, because she didn't have or take the powers of the Darkhold, so she was still like a little more tame.
Yeah, their Wanda must not have been that powerful. Their Wanda hadn't unlocked her thing. Also, their Wanda just had a family that she loved.
Yeah, she was just chilling. But when Reed Richards is explaining to him, like, Black Bolt could kill you with like a whisper, or like with his mouth or whatever, and then she's like,
what mouth? And
then it cuts back to Black Bolt and his mouth is gone, like it reminded of the Matrix. His mouth was gone, and you're like, oh crap, like I guess Black Bolt's just gonna have to sit this one out. And then he starts to freak out because his mouth's gone, and then you realize he starts screaming internally and his head just implodes, and you're just like, holy shit. His like
blew his fucking brains out.
Yeah,
dude.
Like blood out of his nose, his eyes are like bulged, and his head caved in, and then like you can see like the side of his mask, like allegedly like his brain spilled over to like the side of his mask, and you're like, this is brutal, and it just
unreal,
and it just doesn't stop. Like we haven't seen mutants killing mutants like that in any movie, like nothing that brutal.
No.
Like even when you think to like Deadpool, that's like rated R, like you don't see anything like that.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. And then God, dude, the way she fucking like spaghetti squashes fucking Reed Richards, dude. Like,
dude, she like pops his head like a pimple.
She just shreds him.
Yeah, she like shreds his whole body, but then gets to his head and just like boop, and just like, what the hell's going on? And
that was fucking gross.
I wish we could have at least seen a little more of Reed Richards, because like, okay, we got to see Black Bolt's power and what he could do, but we didn't get to really see him stretch too much or do anything that crazy. But yeah, he got destroyed really fast, and then all that's left is Captain Britain and Captain Marvel, and I'm like, all right, like for sure Captain Britain's not gonna do shit because she's just a super soldier. I was like Captain Marvel's got this, like it'll be a crazy fight. But they still, same thing, they both get destroyed, and Captain Marvel gets cut in, or I actually even not Captain Marvel, Captain Britain gets cut in half, and
fucked up.
That was pretty brutal because she was, she had the cool callback. Yeah, she had the cool callback. The Captain America line. I do
this all day.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. But then nope, she just gets cut right in half with her own shield. And you're like, yep, that vibranium will do that. And
yeah, dude, that was, and then Captain Marvel gets crushed by the big statue.
Yeah, she gets like, okay, and what I thought was kind of interesting, I was trying to figure out like when they were kind of like in each other's face in the air spinning, and was it Scarlet Witch like kind of like took off Captain Marvel's mask, because it seemed like she was like pulling her mask off, it was like disintegrating type.
Oh yeah.
Which I was like, does that like weaken her, or what's going on with that?
No, I think that was kind of like showing you like, oh, this is like they're like going through a thing, and it's like destroying the material, like because they're locked in it so hard. I don't know. That part was gnarly. It is also one of those things where it's like we're kind of connected to these characters because like Black Bolt, we know about Black Bolt. Even if you hated Inhumans, you're still like aware of the character and his tragedy and all this stuff. And everybody knows Reed Richards, and everybody, we understand what Captain Britain is. Even if you hadn't seen What If, you can like understand that like, oh, it's just, this is just an alternate version where Peggy Carter got the serum and blah, blah, blah. And she probably had a lot of the same life experiences as Steve, and like still has like that tragic story and yada, yada. And, Maria Rambeau, like obviously she went through the same thing Carol Danvers. It's just her instead of Carol that this happened to, and she probably had the same horrible time with the Kree and whatnot. And these are fucking nobodies to Wanda. She has no idea who any of these people are. She doesn't fucking care. She's just gonna kill them.
Yeah, because she's still just hyper focused on just getting America Chavez.
Are no one to her. These people are fucking no one to her. There's something in her way, and she's just gonna fucking kill them. And she takes two of them out as quickly as fucking possible.
Yeah, and am I wrong? Did she do that whole thing barefoot?
I think so.
Yeah, she just showed up, and I don't think she was wearing shoes. And I was just like, because she just flew from her house. Right? I remember her kids were sleeping, and she was like, "All right, cool. Like, I'm heading to the Baxter Foundation. I'm gonna, take what's mine." And as like this whole fight's taking place, Doctor Strange is trying to talk to Mordo. He's just like, hey, like I got to get to the Book of Ashanti, like cast your vote. And he eventually casts his vote to kill Doctor Strange, and that's where he is smart with his words and gets him to get frustrated and come down and fight him. And I thought when they fell to like the lower level that we were going to get some badass a Daredevil hallway fight scene, because it was so close quarters, but wasn't that good of a fight scene. Doctor Strange ends up.
You think so? Liked it.
You think so?
Well, no, because these are two guys who the most martial arts they know is like the aspects of the magic they do is like similar to a martial art.
Okay.
Like, and it's also I don't think the tea that Strange got was what took his sorcery away. It was the cuffs.
No. Well, the cuffs had the sand in it that takes the
oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yes.
Okay. See, I missed that part because that was one Pete.
Okay.
But that dude, when Strange is able to undo that the cuff, and I love that he just like, fuck this. I'm taking your magic away too, motherfucker. We're gonna be in the same boat. If I'm gonna,
I didn't catch that. Magic, that's why he did that. I thought he did it just so he can keep in close quarters.
No, he did it so he could take Mordo's. So then it's just them both fighting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, see that. Oh,
he's fucking smart.
Okay, see, yeah. Smart. Now I'm looking at a whole new thing. See, that's why I like doing this, because you're catching things that I didn't catch. That's why he did.
And that's why I love that fight, because it was two guys who aren't fucking physically trained, duking it out the best they can.
And Doctor Strange got the best of him. He used him as a springboard to get back up to the upper level where Mordo couldn't get up, because he couldn't use magic and he couldn't do it on his own. So he was basically trapped down there, which was smart. And while that's going on, you have Christine and America Chavez, and she's like, hey, I gotta get out of here, like this shit's like about to happen. And Christine's frantically trying to type this unnecessary long code to open the cage, but computer gets taken over by a Scarlet Witch. And they're like stressing out, and I don't know, Christine created this whole thing, so she knew that the stupid fire extinguisher thing wasn't gonna break the glass. But then you see America Chavez gets frustrated, so she punches it, dents the glass. She's like, oh shit, I can do this, like what's up? But then at that point, I'm drawing a blank on what distracts Wanda from
Xavier.
Oh no, you're right. Okay. Yes, it cuts to Professor X, because he lagged behind, because he gave Doctor Strange the little speech, and then he shows up and he gets in her mind and he tries to save her. Like he's like walking through like that white room through the doorway, and then he gets to her little rock hut. There's the TV playing the WandaVision episode 1 intro, and that made me sad because she was, trapped in her own mind, and the Darkhold was basically, running shop inside of her own mind, and you're just kind of like, damn, she's still in there, like the Wanda that we know and like, but she's being controlled because she kind of succumbed to the Darkhold.
No, that wasn't. He was talking to the Wanda from that universe.
So I mix that up.
Yeah, he was talking to the Wanda whose body was being taken over. He was trying to get her to take back control
of her body. Okay, got it.
And then while he's talking to her, dude, that part was fucking terrifying. She looked so fucking scary.
Yeah, because
when she
because when the evil Wanda showed, because you saw the red smoke
coming in, yeah.
And I didn't, and then once again, another brutal killing, right?
Unreal brutal killing.
She just snaps his neck, and then it cuts to present day, and then you see him slumped.
Her skin was all gray and scary looking. Oh, she was so scary looking. It's so good.
Yeah, but
her nails were like all gnarly and claw-like. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that was a death bummer because here we go again. Another person that we were so stoked to see on screen just gets offed like nothing. Bam. And then it cuts to America Chavez and Christine running, but then they see this shadow, from the distance, and they're scared because they don't know what's coming around the corner. And then it come to find out is Doctor Strange running right past them, trying to find them. And then he kind of cuts back, and that's how they kind of like, join up again, which I thought was like, holy shit. Like they're all here, and he's trying to tell Christine like, hey, you got to trust me. And she's like, oh, that's what like the other Doctor Strange said. And then luckily America Chavez like kind of speaks, and she's like, no, like this one's different, and then she kind of believes America because America's seen all these different Doctor Stranges through like all these different universes, which I thought was cool. I'm happy that she spoke up and kind of showed Christine that he wasn't just like all the other Doctor Stranges.
Yeah, dude, I really liked the story of this Doctor Strange movie. Like I heard somebody complaining about the plot. The plot is sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has the plot is very sound. It is a very explanatory journey of an arrogant man becoming like becoming humble.
Yeah, because he gets this unique perspective. He gets to see the outcome of his own life in other universes if he would have made different choices. Whether it
if he had taken help, if he had trusted that other people are capable of doing the thing. Also, if he had known that the thing is, here's the thing, maybe our Doctor Strange, even in the first Avengers or Infinity War, was maybe the only Strange willing to trust that someone else is capable of doing the thing,
of handling the scalpel.
Because he did it when he gave the time stone over. He said, all right, I'm going to trust that everybody else is going to do what they're supposed to do. Even though I'm making the decision now, I'm now trusting that everyone else is going to be able to do it. And this is him being like, you know what? I don't need to make the decision. I can decide that we can all do this together. And I think especially if we're getting to maybe another shot at a Defenders situation in the Marvel universe, we're getting to another situation where Doctor Strange is going to be more of a team player than he's ever been before, where he doesn't need to be the quarterback. He can be the running back too.
I like just these constant interactions with Christine, because obviously that's the, for now, the love of his life. And he's constantly thinking about her. And even when they got captured, I'm not sure if you saw this or you were in the bathroom at this point, but he asked her like, oh, like what are we like in this universe? And she just like tells him like, oh, like, like, I don't know. And then he's just like, he kind of realized like, oh, like once again,
she says we never figured that out.
Yeah. And it's just like one of those things, like, damn, it's just another, missed opportunity. Didn't get to tell her how he really felt.
And in every universe, Doctor Strange has no bitches.
Yeah, just like that meme that you saw. And I like that because and it's just like the what if story, right? He travels, so far to try to find his love, because obviously like in all these different instances she dies, but he's trying so hard to prevent her death. But every little thing that he does, she dies, like no matter what. And to me, it just feels like he's not intentionally chasing this love, but he's getting put in these circumstances where he's questioning, like, what if he did something different, right? And obviously he was gone for those 5 years, but before he blipped, he was mean to her. He didn't really appreciate her the way that he should have. And that's something that I found was really interesting, because he's just getting, like I said, he's getting like this unique perspective of his own life, because not all of us get to travel the universes.
And even like this movie, like putting into perspective the first Doctor Strange, it almost makes me kind of glad I had the issues I had with the first Doctor Strange,
okay,
with the sidelining of Christine as a character, because I think that it makes this movie make even more sense that Christine was sidelined, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
He's so focused on his own success and getting his own like abilities back and doing these things for himself, because he's so selfish in a lot of ways, that he does just ignore the relationships in his life. And
am I crazy? I was watching this breakdown, and they said to this day Doctor Strange still can't use his hands. That's why there's that scene of his tie getting tied. He's using magic.
Oh shit, you might be right. He might still have like a problem with the dexterity.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, I haven't really. he's normally flying around,
Yeah, doing anything he's doing with his hands is all like motions and shit.
So I was just kind of tripping out about that, because I thought about it. I'm like, oh, is that true?
I did just think about this because I can't remember if we've talked about this before with the What If series, but the Doctor Strange one in particular. And I've never read the book. I think I can't remember if it's Orwell or not. But I loved the movie when I was a kid. Did you ever see The Time Machine with Guy Pearce?
No, I never watched it.
Bro, you should watch The Time Machine sometime. It's fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much that, like, given they're not ripping off the movie, they're probably ripping off the book. But that Doctor Strange story in What If is The Time Machine.
Interesting. Okay.
It's the premise of The Time Machine. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick, and it also like kind of comes to an almost similar conclusion, but a little different. But I highly recommend it. And Guy Pearce is fucking great in it. I can't remember anybody else who's in it, because I was like real young when I saw it. I want to say I saw it in theaters in like the 90s or something, or maybe the early 2000s. I can't remember now how old I was when I saw it, but I really liked it, and it's pretty intriguing and interesting story. But yeah, back to the movie. So okay, here's the one of the issues I have with the movie.
Okay.
Like one of the sole issues I have with the movie. That chase through the pipe,
okay,
through the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd they stop?
When they close the door and she didn't break through immediately?
Yeah, they stop and they wait for her for a second. I don't remember why they stopped.
I think that's why they stopped, is because she didn't break through immediately. So I think they were all just puzzled, like, what's going on?
Okay.
And that's when, like, you see like the slow motion, and then it cuts to America Chavez, and she's like, where'd she go? And then there's the jump scare, and I think it was just to set that up, if I'm being
okay, because that was the thing. I was like, wait, why did they fucking stop running? Keep fucking running.
Yeah, I would.
And then that's when he collapses the thing, and they kind of get away a little bit more.
Yeah, he's just like, Wanda. He's like, if you're still in there, like, I hope you can swim. And then because he was talking to the one from the one that got taken over, which I was like, okay, that's cool. And then that's when they get to the door, where that's the door to the Gap Junction, and he does his little spell to try to open it. Doesn't open it, and he realizes like, oh, there's like a special lock to it. And that's where I'm like, oh shit, Christine never stopped caring, because she had the watch that she gave him as a gift,
Mhm.
even after he got into that accident, because in that universe he
Yep.
still gets in the accident and hurts his hands.
Mhm.
She kept his watch, and she was like, "Here, like I think this is it." And then sure enough, that watch that she gave him is the key to unlock this door to go to the gap junction in between all the universes, which is crazy to me. One little
That part was
watch.
neat. They did a really good job of making this story pretty fucking continuous from the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that part was cool. And then they get down there, and then why'd they waste so much time going to the book, man?
Well, I think because
they were looking at that book for so long before he picked it up, man.
Well, okay, I'm thinking America Chavez is probably nervous because she's like, I've been here before. I know how this might play out. And then Steven is probably maybe just surprised that here's the book to save everything. But it's typical movie shit, like
typical movie shit. But it's one of those things where I'm watching, I'm like,
yeah,
she's still chasing you.
It's like I'd be talking and running towards that book because if this is going to save,
she's still chasing you. Given you're gonna pick the book up, what do you know? What page it's on?
Yeah, you got to like flip through it.
You got to go to the index first and figure out where you.
Yeah, it's just like, but remember he can read books really fast, so
he can read books really fast. You're right. But yeah, that was so then Wanda shows up. She snags America, but then America makes the portal.
Well, yeah, did she force her to use the portal? Because it seemed like she knew that when America gets like scared or stressed that she would open a portal.
I'm not sure.
Because she was like,
I'm not sure because I'm just now thinking, I'm trying to figure out. So, because when she uses the portal, how does America get back to 616 now? I'm trying to think.
Because she opens two portals. Because remember, she opens the portal, kicks Christine and Doctor Strange through, closes it, and then opens the portal to Wundagore, where her normal body is, and Wong. Remember, Wong. Well, she doesn't know Wong's there because she kicked Wong off the cliff and thought he died. But yeah,
didn't see a body though. Knew he wasn't dead.
Yeah, we didn't see the body. So she throws America through the portal, and then she just releases the Dreamwalk spell.
Okay, that was it.
Yeah,
because then that Wanda goes, "Fuck my kids," and then fucking hops back out.
That's it. Fuck my kids. But I'm just like, I'm barefoot. I'm covered in oil and blood. What the hell? Like it just seems it seemed normal.
She looked so fucking scary when she was chasing them through with the red fucking eyes and the blood and oil all over her. Like, it was so fucking cool. So then I guess that's the part I don't really understand is how America was able to, or how Wanda was able to send them through, how she was able to specifically get back, because America seemed to be so out of control when it came to her powers.
True. Yeah. Or see, yeah, that's where it gets swirly for me too, because I don't.
This is the thing we're only seeing the movie once. I'm like kind of like fuzzy right there with that part.
Yeah, because at that point she doesn't know how to use her powers. She only does it when she gets scared. But maybe with Wanda holding her and having some of the essence, she knows how to do it. That's the only thing I can think of. That's only that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
We're gonna say that, and if somebody has an issue with it, they'll tell us. They'll deal with it.
Correct us if we're wrong, because I'm trying to figure it out. But at that point, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is now we're on a clock, because you see America get put on that like sacrificial table thing, and she starts to get her power sucked. But at this time, I'm like, okay, now I got to suspend a little bit of disbelief, because I imagine that spell's not going to take that long to suck her power out. But then it cuts to Strange and Christine in this dark, desolate universe, and then they play out that whole part. So I'm trying, okay, all right, let me just imagine that this is that spell is taking way longer than it should, because they're trying to find they're in this universe now, so they're all right, maybe we got to find the other Strange, because there's that's like their beacon, right? They always got to get to the sanctum to try to figure out what's going on. And it was a little creepy, right? They show up, and there's like that scene where you see like it kind of looks up, and you see like a figure kind of like walk away from like the window from the top of the sanctum. So you're like, okay, there's some version of Doctor Strange up there, but like what kind of version is he gonna walk into. And sure enough, he goes up. Like, for some reason, Christine stays outside. I don't know why she just waited outside. I probably would have went with him, but he walks up, and then he finds just like this dark version of himself. Longer beard, has the Darkhold at his waist, and you're like, holy shit, this is not gonna be a friendly. This guy's up to no good.
Mm-hmm.
And Doctor Strange realizes, he's like, okay, he's like, I need to get the Darkhold to get back to where America Chavez is to save her before she gets killed. And then were you a fan of that fight scene with the music notes?
The music notes. I thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny. I'm gonna assume, like, if like for big Doctor Strange heads, that must be something like from a comic, like the fighting with the music notes and whatnot. But it was extremely like visually stimulating. I will say that, like, the way they made it all look was very I don't know, intricate and interesting to like watch happen. But it was pretty fantastical.
Yeah.
Very Dungeons and Dragons. This movie was very Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it was an interesting take, because obviously, like, we've seen the spell battles, we've seen the fist fights. So for them to go at it with, like, the score, I thought it was pretty interesting. Maybe I would enjoy it more if I watched it again, so I could pick up on things that I missed the first time.
Yeah, no, I thought it was definitely an interesting way to fight, because also, I mean, you're looking at Strange fighting Strange. How does this go?
Yeah.
It's creative. That's how it's going to have to go.
Yeah, and I always want to back the home team, so I always want to assume that we have the best Doctor Strange, but but we're never too sure. But he eventually gets a hold of the Darkhold, and then he sends that Doctor Strange, which...
Whew.
Yeah, he sends him out the window.
He send him?
Yeah, he sends him out the window into getting impaled again. So he gets impaled again, just like the first movie, or excuse me, the first fight scene. And Christine kind of like looks over, like, what the hell? Because I think she's trying to figure out if that's
her guy, or
if it's the one that they just encountered, or the one that she was with. And then like his like third eye opens up, which is like pretty creepy. And come to find out that Doctor Strange is gonna use the Darkhold to dream walk to save America Chavez. And Christine asked him, and first of all, she's pissed off that he's using Darkhold. She's like, you're just like the other one, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, just trust me. And she's like, well, isn't there, like, doesn't have to be a doctor in that universe for you to dream walk? And he's like, yeah. He's like, don't worry, like, I got this figured out. And then that's where you're like, oh shit, he buried himself in the very beginning.
Yeah, he says he doesn't have to be alive.
Yeah, I never even thought that guy was going to come back into play, but that was like super cool.
Insane.
And then there's like a rule that you can't, dream walk, into like someone who's dead, like, any dead person. So that's why he tells Christine, like, hey, like, you got to fight. He's like, you got to watch my back. Like, the souls of the damned are coming for me. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, just watch my body. And then sure enough, he goes, and I like, in theory, I didn't think that the zombie Doctor Strange was going to look cool, but when he started fighting off those demons, and then he got them to, like, form like those wings or whatever, I thought he looked so sick. I was like, he
looked fucking awesome.
I was like,
dude.
This is badass.
It looks so fucking sick. And I realize now, like, they were framing that as like that was the bad guy in the previews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the whole time I thought he was gonna end up meeting that evil Doctor Strange, and that he was gonna have to fight himself. Because one thing, in one of the trailers, there was this dialogue between him and Mordo, and he was talking about, he's like, there's consequences for you messing with the multiverse, which I come to find out didn't even happen in the movie. So it was just like a trailer thing, something that they cut out.
They love doing that shit, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, no, in my mind too, I thought that was gonna be like the final boss was gonna be himself. Turns out it wasn't. But there's a cool thing when the souls actually came out of his body to hurt like the actual Doctor Strange. That weapon that Christine used, that was the same weapon that was in Doctor Strange 1 that he tried using on the villain that you hate. But
Casillas.
Yeah, Casillas. Remember, Casillas asked him, he's like, do you even know how to use that thing? And Doctor Strange was like, no, and he like kind of throws it at him. But then you realize like if he knew how to use it, it would have been a real threat because the way Christine used it and killed off those demons, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that part was fucking badass. That's awesome. I didn't realize that was a callback to the first one.
Mhm.
That's amazing, dude. Fantastic.
Yeah, and then she was a trooper too because she
Dude, she again, they used her
yes
in this movie.
Yeah.
I was fucking thrilled, dude.
Yeah, she killed off these crazy demons, which was awesome. And then Doctor Strange was able to use them to his advantage because just like Wong said that like you're not able to use sorcery up on that mountain. So for him to be able to take advantage of the souls and have them carry him up there to get to Wanda to stop her from stealing America Chavez's powers, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I thought they the way, like, just the determination that he had at the end to just like not be beat was really cool. I thought that was awesome watching him go through like, well, I got to figure this out. Okay, I got to figure this out. Okay, I got to figure this out. Just watching him like problem solve on the fly, like it's very Dungeons and Dragons. It's very Dungeons and Dragons.
And I like when he was flying in and Wong was climbing back up and Wong was helping him, and then Wong finally gets back on the cliff and him and Doctor Strange acknowledge each other and he's like, I'm not even gonna ask. I was
Dude, Wong sends that blade thing on the string straight up through the jaw of that monster, and then it just falls off.
Yeah, just toppled over.
Sick looking.
Yeah, but Wong definitely he's just so funny. I don't know how they write those one-liners for him so perfectly because like it just fits. Like he just said that one line had me dying, and then they just continued to try to save America, and I thought that was just really funny.
Yeah, that part was cool. Fuck, I'm trying to think. And then he sicks all the demons on Wanda at that point.
Yeah, to like overwhelm her because there's so many, and I thought that was cool because those demons aren't afraid of the Scarlet Witch. I'm sure they've probably seen worse. So the fact that they were just going like all around her, laughing in her face, and just not even caring, I was like, this is kind of funny and crazy and cool at the same time, just because these dark creatures are not scared of the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, it was very Army of Darkness too, like the way he used all of those little like half body skeleton demon things. So yeah, at that point, Strange goes over and he gets to America, and America is like willing to make the sacrifice now. Yeah,
because as the demons are engulfing Scarlet Witch, Wong puts her in like a little like egg capsule thing, but she's breaking out, and then Wong makes a suggestion. He's like, yo, you got to take her powers to stop this. And then he just kind of nods, and then that's where he starts to talk to America.
Oh, and I will say this, man, that's amazing that Wong's making that call as Sorcerer Supreme, knowing that's what the other Strange did as Sorcerer Supreme. But since our Strange isn't Sorcerer Supreme, and he's not looking at this like, I've got to solve all the fucking problems, or I've got to do the fucking thing. He's freed up almost to be able to make the choice that no, I think she can figure this out. I think she's got this. Like, we're going to find another way.
Well, there was a,
and he's all fucked up too.
Yeah, he's all fucked up. But I forgot to mention when they were at the Book of Vishanti, and I didn't catch this when I watched it, but when I was watching a breakdown, as the book was burning, there was a single page that had America's symbol on it, and Strange saw that. So I think that kind of symbolized to him that she has to be the one.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and
I didn't catch that. That's sick.
Yeah, so once again, he has to, because he can't do anything, because he's weakened, so he has to put it in the hands of somebody else, just like he did when he handed off the Time Stone. And okay, so you mentioned that you had that one gripe earlier. I think this was the one gripe that I had, was when he tells America, he's like, yo, like he's like, you got to do this. And it kind of hit me like, why hasn't she tried to fight before? Like, why didn't she just try to harness, like, not just her teleporting powers, but she has something in her, like couldn't she have tried to, fight, throw a punch, a kick, maybe something?
I don't think she knew she could throw a punch and do anything until she hit that glass.
You think? Oh, okay.
That was her figuring out that she has something else going on.
That's true. Because
all I think she thought she could do is when she's scared, she can make a portal.
Damn, you're right. Because once again, she was scared, but she
makes the portal when she punches her.
Yeah. Okay.
And when she punches her, she makes a direct decision which portal to do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
she finally is learning how to channel her power.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then you just you corrected my one gripe. She didn't. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you fixed my gripe too. So there it is.
Okay. And that's why these are fun. But I did love that moment where she where America's on the that sacrificial table and she's accepted, like, okay, like, you're gonna take my powers, and he looks at her and he's like no, he's just like, you're gonna do this. And
that was so awesome, dude. Just because that was just the full arc of the character. Just bam, started at the wedding, it ended with the no, like, I think you've got this. Like, I'm gonna trust you. That, like, I don't need to hold the ball. I don't need the ball. I can pass it.
Yeah, and I thought it was so smart because America gets up, punches Wanda, and realizes that she can do some damage, and they're going at it, and then she realizes, like, oh shit, like, this is still the Scarlet Witch. I can't beat her toe to toe. So,
well, because Wanda catches her fist.
Yeah.
Wanda catches her fist, and she's like, fuck, I can't beat you, so I'm gonna give you what you want.
Yeah, she outsmarted her. She's like, I'm gonna take you to your kids as who you really are and let them decide. And sure enough, she teleports them to the living room of the house, and the kids get the glimpse of who she really is, and it's all over from there. Like, it just starts unraveling, right? There's no winning at that point, and I'm just like, that's so brilliant. America Chavez didn't have to beat her, with like going toe to toe. She just outsmarted her.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. It was fantastic. I thought that was so cool because also she's been hanging out with Doctor Strange for a long time. Whether it's this one or another one, she's been running around with a bunch of Doctor Stranges.
Yeah,
she's gotten this idea, this creative problem solving brain of like, well, fuck, I can't do it this way. Well, where's the other angle? Like she's always looking. She's learned from the best at looking at the angle and figuring out where it is. That she was just like, oh shit, like, you're scary. I'm just gonna give you what you want. I'm just gonna let your kids see you right now, exactly like you said, and just it's gonna end your plan.
Yeah,
and it does.
Yeah, because the kids don't see the Scarlet Witch as their mom. Like, their Wanda's their mom, not the Scarlet Witch. Yeah. So when she throws Wanda across the room, and then the kids run behind the staircase and are all scared.
They start throwing toys at her.
Yeah, and Wanda's just like trying not to get frustrated, but they're just like trying to protect their own mom because she's not their mom. And then when she snaps at them and scares them, then she kind of realizes, like, oh shit, like, they're afraid of me.
Yeah, I'm the baddie.
Yeah,
she has her real I think I'm the baddie moment.
Yeah, and then I'm really surprised through that whole time that, like, the 838 Wanda never tried to, like, fight, never used her powers, like, against, like, anybody. And even in that moment when she kind of gets up and, like, walks over to the Scarlet Witch and tells her, like, oh, just know that they'll be loved. I was like, damn, even after, like, this, invader coming to your universe, trying to steal your life, like, you're super calm and, very composed, and just letting her know that, like, and obviously she can tell, like, that's herself. Just like looking at the Scarlet Witch, and she just tells her, like, like, just know that, like, in this universe, like, your kids, they're getting treated the way that you want them to be treated.
Yeah, no, it was so sad, dude. It was a really sad one. Not as sad as Shang-Chi, but it was pretty sad.
Yeah. And then America cuts out the portal and kind of takes them back. And Scarlet Witch finally has this, clarity, like, holy shit,
I got to destroy this.
Which, okay, now I'm curious about your perspective. Do you think she really killed herself. Because when you see the whole thing collapse, there's like this weird red pulse. So I'm just like, there's no way like someone like that big right now is gonna kind of just off themselves.
There's no way.
But then going forward, she has to pay for her crimes, right?
Some people, how do they pay for it?
Well, how do you charge one of the most powerful?
How do you charge? Yeah, where do you charge?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you're just gonna have to be like what you did.
What? How would she pay, and how would you charge her?
You're just gonna scold her. You're gonna be like, "Don't do it again."
Yeah.
But please don't attack us. Just go away.
Yeah.
Just go off and leave us alone.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was fucking sick. And then that's it, right? That's the end is them at the Sanctum, or not at Carmitage.
Well, kind of. So remember, it's them, and she's just thanking him for helping out, and you see Carmitage getting rebuilt. But then it cuts to Strange at the Sanctum, and he's walking out. Remember, he walks out onto the street, and you're just like, this seems a little too happy-go-lucky. And then sure enough, in the middle of the crosswalk, he collapses and is screaming in pain. And then he reveals that he has the third eye, just like the evil Strange from.
There's repercussions for what is it? He says there's repercussions for handling the Darkhold or something like that.
Yeah, and that's where it ends. But obviously, there's like 2 post-credit scenes, one with Bruce Campbell, and then the other with Charlize Theron, which I thought was pretty crazy because Doctor Strange, I feel like, keeps pushing the limits of this whole thing, because how weird can we get? Yeah, because Doctor Strange, that's where they introduce the multiverse, and then here we are, Doctor Strange 2. Now we're talking about
Doctor Strange. We introduce magic.
yeah, just something that wasn't there before.
Yeah,
and then now with Doctor Strange 2, we're definitely exploring more of the multiverses. Now we're speaking about incursions, and that's where this post-credit scene comes in. Clea, who, for anyone who reads the comics, eventually becomes Doctor Strange's wife,
yeah,
and she's the niece of Dormammu, who is the villain of the first movie.
And that universe she cuts them open to is the Dark Dimension too.
Yeah, and she tells him you started an incursion, and we have to handle it. And he's just like, I'm down, which is the craziest thing to me. Not even like, hey, can I call the Sorcerer Supreme, Wong? Can we maybe bring some friends along? Like I don't really know you. Who the hell are you? He's just down. His third eye's open. He's good to go.
Yeah, I was excited, dude. I love Charlize Theron so much. I love her in everything. Mm-hmm. She's fantastic. Did you see Atomic Blonde?
No, I never watched that one.
Bro, you should see Atomic Blonde.
Okay.
It's pretty fucking sick. Shit, I'm gonna turn my fucking light on right now. I realize it's gotten dark since we started this.
But overall, awesome movie. I felt like they did a great job, and I can't believe we're here. Doctor Strange 2 is out, but so we're here in phase 4. We've had 5 movies that have come out, and I saw not like a super interesting article, but I saw the question being posed, like, how would you rank the first 5 movies of phase 4? And I feel like it should be pretty universal the way people rank these, but I'm curious.
It's pretty. So it's Spider-Man is number 1.
Okay.
This one I would say is number 2.
Okay.
What else are we rocking with? Black Widow, Eternals, and
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi is 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Black Widow is 4.
Yeah.
And Eternals is, you know what? Fuck it. It's a top 4. It's a top 4. I'm not numbering Eternals. No. Okay. It's not even on the list. Mine ends at 4. I don't need a 5th.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's how it goes, but
and I know you do not like Black Widow.
It just doesn't make sense.
And I'm not going to argue with you that it could even be remotely better than Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
But It is so much fucking better than Eternals.
Yes. And I did make the mistake of saying on the podcast that or talking about like the worst movies, and I totally forgot to mention it. Eternals. You had texted me about that, and my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh shit, I did forget to say Eternals, and you definitely reminded me.
I will not stand for Eternals erasure.
Yeah. But the rest of the year is pretty interesting because we have 3 movies left, and we have three movies, and
Thor.
I'm looking at the list right now. Thor, Black Panther, and Guardians. Right?
Black Panther and Guardians are still going to come out this year.
Am I looking at an outdated list? Oh no. I am looking at an outdated list. Guardians is next year.
Yeah. I think Guardians and Black Panther are going to be next year. I think Thor's the only one we're going to get this year.
Thor.
Yo, while you're looking at this, I'm going to go pee real quick. Okay.
No problem. I'll keep the guests entertained. So Thor got pushed, or not Thor, Black Panther got pushed to next year, which understandably so. Guardians, I'm really, really on the fence about, because I really enjoyed the first one. Second one was okay, but with all the drama with James Gunn, the cast, I just want it to end, if I'm being honest. I'm just kind of over it. I'm trying to find an updated list. These things are okay. So Moon Knight came out, Doctor Strange, Thor's in July. Yeah, I keep saying Black Panther is supposed to be this year. Oh, let's see. I keep.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm looking at all these lists, and it keeps saying Black Panther is still slated for this year.
Well, I'll take it.
Okay, so yeah, so I guess all we have left is Thor in July and Black Panther in November.
Yeah, I think Thor comes out like the week of my birthday or some shit. Which I just saw the new Thor trailer recently. I hadn't seen any Thor trailer really, and looks like it's gonna be fun.
I've never been a fan of the Thors, if I'm being honest.
Dude, I loved Ragnarok. I love Ragnarok, and I really like Loki.
I like Loki the series.
Well, I like Loki the character. So I've liked everything that Loki's been involved in as far as the show goes. I think Loki's a really interesting character. I think the Loki Thor dynamic is really good. I think Loki's the only thing that's good about Thor Dark World. The scene where Thor goes and confronts Loki after their mom gets assassinated, and Loki's putting on the front of everything being normal, and then Thor says, enough, brother, like, can we drop the illusions? And Loki drops it, and you see that he just destroyed everything in his room, and he's just in shambles against the wall. I think that is such a visceral moment in my mind of the whole MCU. That moment stands out in the whole series of MCU films. That moment where Loki is just devastated over the loss of their mom, the only person who really kind of saw him and accepted him. And I really like that. And then all the way to him making the sacrifice he makes in Thor 2, which could have killed him. He dies, but he could have really died. He could have been sucked into one of those things, and he makes that choice to save Jane, a person who his brother cares about.
Yeah.
And I like the complicated character of Loki, and I thought what they did with the Loki series, and Sylvie is absolutely like easily a top 10 MCU character for me.
No, she's awesome.
I think she's just incredibly challenging. Like, I think she's a very like just a troublesome character, just to think about like how fucked up her whole life has been. Like, she's essentially like been a refugee she's been a refugee of a war waged against her specifically. And she's lived in the worst places imaginable her whole life. Like, because you realize that's where she's had to exist in an apocalypse at all times of her life. And I think she has like a very interesting like idea of a character and what what that would mentally do to you and how much that would fuck you up. And I really liked the Loki series.
Yeah, still the only series to get a season 2.
Yeah, you're right. I think Moon Knight's going to get another season.
I haven't finished it.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm lagging. I've been
You're
busy.
You're a fucking liar. You told me you'd finish it before we talked today.
I know I said that, but I didn't. But I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm really busy these days. But
no, you're good, bro.
I thought I read that he signed on to do like other stuff, and he's not.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
I mean, the story can't end where it ends in the series. It's got to go somewhere from there. It doesn't. It's the way it ends. It has to keep going in some way. They leave things untied.
Okay. Did you?
But
I'm trying to remember the timeline here. Did we talk about Hawkeye last time? Hawkeye?
No, Hawkeye hadn't finished yet. It finished like the week after we talked.
Did you enjoy it?
I listened to your talk with Dan.
Okay.
I didn't agree with anything. I loved it.
Okay. Oh, you didn't agree with Dan because I love the series too.
Okay, I thought you were kind of on board with him with being more critical of it.
No, I was trying to not be such a fanboy because I love Kate Bishop.
Okay, I thought it was awesome. I thought I didn't know how to feel about Haley Steinfeld in that role either until I want to say we watched some like teen movie that she was in, and she was really funny in it.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'm kind of feeling like I could be on board with this girl playing Kate, or being the new Hawkeye, but being Kate Bishop. And then she was pretty funny and charming in that role. And I thought it was really fucking the thing I liked about Hawkeye more than anything was showing the toll it took on him. Just being a human dude.
No, I can't imagine. Right? Remember, you saw the PTSD effects when they're at the Broadway play.
Hearing,
his
hearing. The fact that his hearing was gone too. I thought that was such a cool, like the way. I really like when these movies and these shows like get critical of the actual like one of the things I liked about the Captain America movie was like the Captain America movies were like showed the dark sides of SHIELD and showed the dark sides of these government organizations, and that these like there's a lot of like the fascistic tendencies of trusting in these authoritarian systems and what roads that leads you down. And one of the things I liked about Hawkeye was it showed you how inhuman the demand is on these, for lack of a better term, like as far as what Clint Barton is, like he was an operator. He was, a mercenary, so to speak. He was sent into dangerous situations to do dangerous missions, and there was little to no regard for his personal safety or well-being. And it fucks you up. It will fuck you up. It will chew you up, and it will spit you out, and it will leave you a broken fucking person. And then what do you do after that? Do you go back to being normal?
Like you can. It's not possible.
How? Because even if you do stop what you're doing, you're still going to have these effects for the rest of your life. And I thought that was pretty interesting that they decided to break Clinton Barton and show you that, no, you can't be a human being and keep this up, which is one of the reasons I'm glad they killed Black Widow off, because I think it would get impossible to believe that these people are still capable of doing this, giving no superpower, no longevity, nothing to armor them against the abuse that they're going through. They are just human beings. And Black Widow was going to have to retire at some point or die. Yeah. She was going to have to stop or die, and she died.
Yeah.
Because there's only two ways out, was either stop doing what you're doing and deal with the repercussions that you don't have. I mean, what do you do? What do you do after that? Do you get a job?
No, I feel like you have to constantly be involved. You can't.
You're either, and she was somebody who was never going to be able to, like, even when she was, alone after the blip, she was still, trying her best to hold all the organizations together, which I imagine was even more stressful than being out there fighting.
Yeah, because there's a million questions that people have that you don't have the answers for because nobody has experienced the blip, and you don't know if they're coming back.
And that's one of the things where, like, when Natasha gives herself up in Endgame, I think it's powerful because at a certain point, I want to, like, especially because it was between her and Hawkeye. It was between her and Clint who was going to give themselves up, both human beings.
Yeah.
Who can't keep this up much longer. And what a relief it must have been at that moment where she got let go.
Yeah,
that it was gonna be over for her.
Yeah, she didn't have to carry that weight.
She wasn't gonna have to lose any more friends. She got to die hoping this fixed everything.
Yeah, she got to make a sacrifice that she wanted to better the whole entire universe.
The last thoughts in her head are, I'm gonna die and everyone's gonna fix something. She doesn't know Tony's gonna die too. Like, she thinks this is gonna help everybody. She has no idea that this is still gonna cause, there's still more pain to come. And that idea that Clint had to watch her lose, and almost probably, like, I imagine there's a certain degree that Clint is, and one of the feelings I got from Hawkeye is Clint's almost envious of Nat for getting out.
Yeah, because
he's almost envious that Natasha got to go.
Yeah, because you got to look at he's having to deal with what he did during the blip, right? He's having to unintentionally try to repay all the damage that he'd done because of this costume that got out that wasn't supposed to, and he thought that dark part of his life was over and done with. But
there's no skeleton that you can put in your closet deep enough for it to never come out, man.
Yeah, and he learned that, and It was I think it was a good series. I sound like the biggest Black Widow hater, but I felt like, Yelena was kind of pointless. I don't think she needed to be there.
I mean, I think they just want to, they want us to get used to there being a new Black Widow. And the scale of two things, the scale of hero that Black Widow is, she can show up pretty often. And the list of actor that Florence Pugh is, I think she's a little bit more affordable.
Okay.
When it comes to, we can afford to put her where fucking Scarlett Johansson had priced herself out of this shit.
Yeah, she's too expensive.
It was gonna become way more difficult to keep her involved because she's just, you got to pay her more. And Florence Pugh's not as established yet, that she's making her bones still, given she's in great fucking movies. Have you ever seen that Fighting with My Family movie?
Never seen it.
I want to say I've advocated for this on here before. It's
Fighting for my family.
Yeah, no, Fighting with My Family.
Okay, with my family.
Fighting with My Family. It's her. It's like the true story of one of the
Becky Lynch.
WWE. Yes.
Oh, okay. I've seen the trailer. Okay, so I know what this is, but no, I've never seen it. Okay.
That's why she got the Black Widow role, I'm pretty sure, because she knows some martial arts.
Oh, okay.
She knows how to do stuff.
I thought it was because she starred in A Midsummer, but
no, because Midsummer, she's just a chick crying. I mean, I love Midsummer. I think Midsummer is amazing, but she's just a chick crying, and she's a great actress. But you cast her in Black Widow because she knows how to fight, and in that Fighting with My Family movie, she does a lot of her own stunts in that movie, and it's pretty evident that she's okay getting thrown around, and I think that's why she landed Black Widow. But yeah, no, I like Hawkeye. I've liked all the series for what they are.
Yeah, next
and then
one,
I've liked some of them for more than that.
Next series we're getting is Miss Marvel.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how that one goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they do her origin. Like, are they going to tap into the Terrigen Mist? Because she's technically she's an Inhuman.
Inhuman, yeah.
But are they going to go that route, or are they?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm game for it. I will say though, the special effects in the preview don't look up to par as the compared to the rest of these Disney shows. I'm game for it. I'm gonna see.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious how they decided to give the budget to that, because obviously a lesser known superhero, in the MCU, brand new character. So it's always risky, right? Because they don't want to run into another Eternal situation. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Maybe
I'm open for it, but judging off the special effects that I saw in the trailer, I'm like, these don't look like they're as good as the rest of the series we've gotten.
Okay,
but we'll see.
Well, time will tell. We'll be back again for Thor when that comes out. We'll do another breakdown. But before we go, I'll always have to bring in the music. Let's start off with Inclination. There was a music video, new song. Any movement with the record? Any release date? Anything you can speak on?
I always listen to the last one of our episodes so I can try to remember what we talked about last time, so I don't say things over again. And I noticed when we talked last, I was like, oh, new Inclination record, it'll be out maybe before Doctor Strange. I can come on and we can talk about the record. As you can see, record's still not out.
Nope, still not out.
But yeah, so as far as that goes, I think we're gonna have like a summer release for the record sometime, and then we'll have the vinyl in the fall. But we are most likely gonna play some release shows over the summer. Mm-hmm. We've got Wild Rose.
I broke that news to you. Remember?
Yeah, you broke that news to me. That was funny. Yeah, it's funny. You've done that more than once. But yeah, so that'll be me kind of getting a second shot, because the last time Inclination played Canada, they played without me.
Really? And, who sang?
Anthony from Struck Nerve and Jesus Piece.
Oh, Anthony.
He sang a few songs, and then it was the Evan Shaw, that it was his memorial show or whatever, mm-hmm. and then another kid named Evan, I want to say, from Canada, who I don't know. He sang some songs, and then somebody else sang some songs too. Because I made the joke, because it was when I fucking tore my ACL that I was like out of work and out of shows for like a minute, and 3 people had to fill in for me at that Canada show. And I made the joke. I was like, damn, 3 people got to fill in for me everywhere I am, because I knew work was fucked. I knew they were going to have to throw like 4 or 5 people at my work to fill in for the shit that I do there. Which was an arrogant fucking joke to make, but whatever. I thought it was funny. But yeah, so the last time Inclination played Canada was without me, and that was going to be my first time playing out of the country. So I didn't get to do that. So this will be me kind of getting another chance at that. So I'm going to try to not hurt myself before then. But who knows? And I talked about it on I talked to Spencer and Jessa on the Scoped or whatever about that, and I knocked on wood for that when I was talking to them too. But yeah, so there's that. I say Inclination should be doing some more stuff this year. I think we're waiting to like try to announce everything at once.
Okay.
Like whatever we're doing in the summer and maybe even like the early fall.
So nothing late July.
Late July.
Yeah, July 30th and 31st in LA.
Is there something happening in late July?
Well, not that. So Sound and Fury is happening that day, but I'm curious if like you guys are on it. Okay.
No,
okay.
I don't think we got asked to play Sound and Fury. We didn't get asked to play Sound and Fury. I don't know if we got asked to play any of the fests this year. Okay. But then again, like if I think I've told you before, if we get asked to do something and Isaac can't do it, I don't even find out we got asked a lot of the time. So, but yeah, I don't think we got asked to play any of the fests this year, which is, kind of a bummer. I like going to the fest because I like moshing to all the bands that are playing the fest and putting my life at risk and putting the band set at risk as well. But yeah, this is our core lineup. Looks cool. Wish we were playing, but isn't happening. But yeah, I don't think we're playing Sound and Fury. We definitely will be out your way whenever we play release shows. I know we're planning on trying to do because we won't be able to do a tour with like Chris's schedule conflicts added with Isaac's and Peter and school and everything. So, but Caleb is going to be out of school. I want to say his finals were this week or last week. So pretty soon, Caleb will be the least restrictive person in Inclination. Caleb will go from being, I think, number 3 in the restrictive people in Inclination to being the least, being even less restricted than I am, which is going to be weird because I've been used to being the easygoing guy in the band.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon I'm going to be beat out by even him. He's going to have it even easier than me because I think he's going to be able to do his job from like anywhere. I think he's going to be able to just work from home so he can work from the road as well. So yeah, so that'll maybe open us up a little bit, but who knows with Harm's Way and whatnot.
Yeah.
If we'll be even more restricted with Chris, but I know we're planning on doing like some East Coast and West Coast shows whenever the record comes out. I just don't know when and where exactly because they haven't told me anything yet. Because again, they can kind of make these plans and just as long as it's not around a holiday, I can do whatever. But yeah, so that's what Inclination's got going on. But yeah, we did that music video, which was weird. That was my first music video I've ever done. So
hell yeah,
that was really
that was awesome. I know a lot of people were stoked on it.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's I really like that Thoughts and Prayers song. I really like a lot of the songs on the record. I think I did a good job. I know I've fallen victim lately to the we've talked about this, I'm pretty sure, the YouTube comment.
Oh no.
I've fallen victim to taking things personally by strangers, and I it's one of the things I feel like I talk to my therapist about sometimes is like trying to like figure out like how to take a criticism and like judge whether or not it's like disingenuous or not.
Okay.
Because yeah, like I saw somebody like accuse me of having like elementary lyrics, and I was like, well, that's a bit mean.
Yeah,
but well, like because I try really hard when it comes to the lyrics, and I think I'm very sincere with the things I write, even if they might be like, you know, like when I'm writing super straight edge things, it's because I've never gotten to write super straight edge things. So I'm just trying to have fun with it to a certain extent, but also like be honest and sincere with the things. Like every song I write is really about something. Like, yeah, I don't write just nonsense like because I think it sounds cool. I write these songs because of issues I have with the way things are. And a lot of the LPs that I'm pretty happy with how A Decision came out. I think there's gonna be a music video for A Decision.
Okay.
I don't know. I've seen early edits of it. I thought it would be out by now.
Oh, so it's already been shot.
It's been shot-ish. Okay. So I think that's still happening. I don't know if maybe that's going to come out like when we're ready for the music to come out, or if it's going to. I thought it was going to come out by now, but I guess not. But we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I'm ready for the record to come out. I'm ready for people to hear it, and I guess I'm ready to be criticized for it.
You'll be fine. Just don't fall into that. Don't take it, like, read them. If you're going to, I suggest don't read them, but if you do read them, just know that it could be tough. Don't let it ruin your day because you don't know who it's coming from.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, so I like getting criticized for like talking about like how like, you know, I don't agree with capitalism is like, if you're disagreeing with me on that, then, you know, whatever, dude, like you're like, I guess if you're into hardcore, you're not that into it because like if you're all about like the systems that we are currently like restricted in on a global scale, then you're not part of the revolution that hardcore is supposedly like counter to. Like we're a counterculture. We're supposed to be, you know, about being critical of the government. And I'm sorry, but the government is capitalist. So I'm going to be critical of the capitalist system we're in, because I'm very critical of things that I see as harming the people I care about and the people I love in this world. So if you're going to talk shit about me for caring about people, then I think you need to, like, it's one of those things I think we talked about this on one of our early talks, how like I'll check in with like the right-wing reactionary viewpoint on things. Like there's a few YouTubes. I told you about one of them. That's like, one of them's like that's psychotic, like misogynist, kind of borderline racist YouTube channel that does videos on comic book movies.
Mhm.
I check in with them constantly to make sure I don't agree with anything they're saying. Like I use that as like my canary in the coal mine to like check myself to make sure I'm not going on like some like Dave Chappelle, because I'm a boomer in hardcore. I'm a fucking boomer in hardcore at this point. Like me and you are the old guys. And
yeah, that's weird to hear you say that. But it's true. It's true.
The older we get, the more inclined we are to be resistant to change. So it's one of those things where like I'm always trying to, like, if I'm feeling like resistant to a change, I try to like check in, like, well, why do I feel resistant to this change? What part of me is disagreeing with this? Is this part of me, like, am I fucked up for this? And I like try to like check those things in like constantly and like be fully aware of like how I'm traversing life. Am I coming off as a regressive? Am I coming off as repressive? Am I doing something that are my feelings infringing on someone else's right to life, or right in, we say that right now with, what's going on in the country with, overturning Roe v. Wade. And it's very scary. It's very scary living in a world where where I can be in my counterculture and be ranting and raving and fucking pissed off at the way the world is. And then there's people commenting on the internet being like, wow, like, what a crybaby, what a whiny guy. Like, and I'm like, motherfucker, like, do you not watch the news? Do you not turn on the TV? Do you not like open your phone? Like, do you not see what's happening? Like, do you not care? Like, is this stuff not affecting you or anybody you know? Like, because it's affecting people I know, it's affecting people I care about, and it's affecting people I love. Like, so I'm gonna be mad, and if you think I'm whining, then we can go in the parking lot. Like, at this point, like, I don't care. Like, I'll fight somebody over some shit like this, because if you're legitimately like, if your ideas endorse people having less rights based on things that are out of their control, then I've got an issue with you sharing the room with me. And like, given hardcore is supposed to be this inclusive place, but we're not no Nazis.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I don't have any patience for anybody who's agreeing with a Republican politician on anything. Because you got to walk that down the line to like, what else? Like, I'm not about like, and it scares me, because I see more of these attitudes in hardcore lately. I see them being like espoused by people who are like looked at and have platforms in some cases. And I'm like, well, fuck, like, I know how I was radicalized to see how like I shouldn't use certain words anymore because they're regressive and they're repressive. I can see now also how if I had been radicalized in a different way, I maybe would have been more regressive or repressive, because I was looking for somewhere to belong. And I saw someone who I thought was cool saying things that were radical ideas to me. And just, I recognize how like you can hear a radical idea on either side, and it can pull you depending on how alone you feel and how like discarded you feel by everything going on in the world. So it really troubles me, this idea that like, and I'm not saying like everybody in hardcore has to agree on everything. I'm saying we really should like talk about these things and disagree about a lot of things, but there's got to be a baseline. Yeah. There's got to be a baseline, and that baseline has to be like that we don't want to go back to 1930.
Yeah, I don't think anybody born this generation would want to.
Yeah, like that's my thing is like if your idea of like a if your idea of like an ideal world is like the subjugation of women, then I think that I should be able to throw your phone away.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the world where that happened, you didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I think that now you, and also if that's going to be the case too, then I'm going to need you to go get married to someone, and I'm going to need you to work and while they don't. And then I want to see how that life turns out for you.
Yeah.
Where we're in this day and age, I want you to have to go to work while your wife stays home. And I want to see how you make that fucking work.
Yeah.
And then come back and tell me that my ideas on economics are fucking wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I spend like all fucking day like learning and trying to like expand my mind and expand my understanding on how this fucking world works. Mostly because like, especially when it comes to like writing for constraint and stuff, I want to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you don't.
Like, I've got all these ideas. I want to know what I'm talking about when I say things, and I don't want to be full of shit. That's my biggest fucking thing with being an artist, is just trying so hard not to be full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to live the life that I want, and at the same time, like, I don't want to be espousing things that are out my ass. And but yeah, sorry for the rant.
No,
I just get so mad sometimes.
I appreciate you ranting, because now I can segue into constraint. You had a little stint in Atlanta for Strangle You release shows. I'm just curious what your experience was like down there. Did you stay the whole weekend, or were you guys only able to go down the day you played?
We just played the one show. It was, I mean, in all honesty, it was cool. All the bands played really awesome. Fucking Jab was sick. Mm. It was like a little disappointing, like turnout wise, for the sake that Bitter End was playing.
Oh wow!
And Bitter End's playing. They hadn't played a show since LDB.
Yeah, it's a long time
before COVID, and I thought like that would pull a lot of people out, and it would be like a fucking wild ass time. And it was fun, but it was one of those things where like, and I don't mean, and I don't want to like be disparaging or anything like this, but like, and I don't want this to sound disparaging, because leading up to the show, I listened to like every Bitter End record to be like, you know, like go back through and be like, oh, you know, fuck, I haven't listened to this since before LDB. And I was listening to all the Bitter End records, and I was like, I think Bitter End is the best hardcore band of my generation. Like, pound for pound, every fucking record is interesting, is unique, is very well written. I find new things with every record every time I listen to it that I didn't notice before, or I didn't appreciate before, or I see influences that I didn't see before. And it's one of those, like, they're one of those bands that I feel like still gives to me, even records that came out in like, you know, 2006 and 2010 and like 2007. I still like remember like when these records came out, when they dropped, and my first listening to them being different than the current listens that I have to them. And for me, Bitter End is pound for pound like the best hardcore band of my generation. But saying that, they've always seemed to me to be a band's band.
Okay, I get that.
They're the band that everybody in bands likes. And it felt so evident at that show. Like, that everybody who was moshing and everybody who was going off was like, it was all the band's band guys. And it's kind of upsetting that they haven't grabbed that greater audience, or at least like held on to like the zeitgeist as far as like the majority of hardcore goes, when they're just, to me, like so fucking miles ahead of bands of their era, and even like bands that are currently going. And like, it really, like, at times it felt like the Bitter End set was just for me, because I was going off so fucking hard. Like, and I felt like I should have been crabbing. I felt like I shouldn't have been able to go off as hard as I was. I should have had to have been more aware and scared for my life like it used to be. But but yeah, no, it was good. I had fun. The Strangle You set was wild. I really like that Strangle You record that we're putting out. Hopefully it'll be out soon. I've got a box with all the record covers already in sleeves, just waiting for the records to come in. So hopefully sometime in the next few weeks that record will be up and it'll go on the LDB store. Some of those Strangle You songs on that record are like perfect punk songs in my opinion. So but yeah, but it was fun. Fool's Game was sick. It was but yeah, I was pretty fucking blown away by Jab.
Shout
Jab
out
was
Long Island. Shout out my buddy
Yeah.
Spataro, Chris Reaney. Awesome guys. Love that band.
Yeah, they were fucking awesome. I told them they reminded me of when Hatebreed was still fast.
Okay.
Like when Hatebreed was still kind of fast and dirty. That was how it felt to me. And I bought a fucking record. I literally never heard them before. I heard the band name. But yeah, they were fucking awesome. Living in Fear was really cool. We played right after them, and there was definitely we should have played before them.
A little walkout. What their hometown band?
A little bit of a walkout.
Yeah, they're pretty popular.
Yeah. But yeah, we covered that. We did that Mental cover again, and one of the kids who was like moshing for every band knew the Mental cover, so I was pretty hyped on the fact that the kid who was moshing for every band knew the Mental cover. That was cool. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped for the Constraint shows that we're doing at the end of summer. We're going to be going up and playing that scoped Exposure Fest, and then we're playing Hold Your Ground, and I think we're doing like something like 14 days around then too. So we're doing like
that's a long time.
A full run with Gates to Hell. I think maybe somebody else. I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be with us on all the shows, but I think at least the two of us are doing. Basically, I play Wild Rose, fly home, and then work a few days, and then Constraint's going to tour up to Calgary, and then we'll tour back around, and then end in Toronto, and then come home. So that's going to be exhausting. I'm going to have to be very careful because that means I can't get hurt at Wild Rose, and I can't get hurt at the Scope thing, and then I can get hurt in Toronto. So I'll have to be on somewhat best behavior on that tour, and probably have to not mosh some days, which is going to be very difficult for me because I just go nuts on tour. But yeah, so Constraints got that going on. We've got a song on the comp, the LDB comp that I'm doing. That one of that song aired on the episode of Scoped Exposure that I did the other day. Inclination's also on the comp, and I believe Caleb is doing an episode of Scoped Exposure, so that song is going to air on his episode, and that's a cover of a By the Grace of God song that me and Isaac kind of threw together, just the two of us. And then you aired the Weapon X song. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I got a lot of questions. People were like, when's this comp coming out? Where can we get more information?
I was hoping it would be out by now, but I'm actually like in the process right now of getting it, like the digital figured out for it. So hopefully it's up in the next few weeks or so. One of my friend Colin Feeney, who helped out with LDB this year and is doing like a lot of the booking in Louisville now. He's a whiz with that kind of shit, so he's helping me get all the digital stuff together to get it on streaming. Are you gonna air that Sleepaway song?
100%. Yeah, by the time people got to this point of the podcast, they would have already heard Sleepaway.
That's my new band.
Yeah, Logan Street is the name of the song.
Yeah, me and Ashton actually went and did so that song we went to the building that song is about, and we took photos for the lyric sheet for the comp for the Sleepaway thing, because for the lyric sheet everybody's getting like a personal like grid in the lyric poster, so everybody is getting like their own individual little like flyer space for doing lyrics, and we went and took a photo on the rooftop of this building. So there used to be this building called the Ice Factory in Louisville that we would go to all the time. Like me and Mo from Two Witnesses, and Alex, who does LDB, and a lot of like Dustin, who plays in Constraint and Gates to Hell, and Wicked Garden, and Three Poisons, and fucking, I can't remember all the bands Dustin's in. But back in the day, we would all like climb up on top of this building all the time. And there was like this real crazy way you used to have to do it, like because it was like an abandoned building that people would get in, and then they'd figure out how people were getting in. So they'd like seal up part of it, and then you'd have to figure out a different way to get in. And one of the ways you got in for a while was you had to like climb up on top of a roof, and then you'd have to shimmy across a pipe, like maybe like 40 feet in the air.
That sounds dangerous.
Very dangerous. You have to shimmy across this pipe like 40 feet in the air over to a wall, and then shimmy across that wall to like a metal roof that like had like parts that were like collapsing in it. And you have to do all this in the dark. And then you'd have to crawl through a window, and then you'd have to run up some stairs, and you have to walk out another door. You have to climb up on a ledge. And then if you didn't have enough upper body strength, well, the thing I would always do is I would have to like crouch down, and people would get on my shoulders, and I would stand them up, and I would have boost everybody up. And then I didn't weigh anything back then, and I was always able to like lift myself, like even when I was like a skinny little motherfucker. And then the last person would have to just jump up and pull themselves up. So there was always like maybe like 2 or 3 people who were able to just jump up and pull themselves up. And then when it came, so you had to climb up that, and then you have to run up all these stairs. It was like a 14-story building. We'd all hang out up on the top, and some people would drink and smoke and, you know, just like hang out and whatnot. And we would just, you know, sit out and look at the stars, look at the sky, look at the cityscape, and watch the UPS planes like circle the city. And it was something that we would go up there like all the time, like 4, 5, 6, some 7, 8. We went up there to watch 4th of July one year. We went up there to watch Thunder over Louisville. It's this big fucking fireworks show they do for the Derby time, which Derby just happened this weekend. I hate it. It's awful.
Shout out Drake and Jack Harlow.
Bro, Derby is the fucking worst. It's like me and Ashton were talking about it because it fucks up everything around Louisville. Like they like fuck up all the homeless people a few weeks before Thunder, which is the first event of Derby, and then they keep the homeless people pretty much locked away until Derby's over, and they let them back out.
Wait, locked away? Like they put them in a building?
They just go. They beat them up. They beat up their fucking camps. They fucking tear everything down. They throw shit away. They arrest some of them, then they let them out, and then they just kind of. Or they keep them arrested, you know, whatever. They get them off the fucking street for Derby, and it's like the Olympics. Like they clean up the city, like to make it look
like
nice.
Yeah, when it's not really like that normally.
But the Olympics happen every 4 years in like a different city every 4 years, and the Derby happens here every fucking year. So it's shitty. It's real shitty. Some of the stuff's fun to go to. Like I saw Everclear at a Derby event one time. It was cool, but and it was free. But for the most part, Derby's fucking ass. But yeah, so we climb up in this building. We just, you know, hang out up there all the time. Then it started to get a little hot. One of the first time I ever got arrested was climbing on top of the building. We like ran, and I got away, and the cops didn't like that I got away, so they fucked me up a little bit, and we all got arrested. But yeah, so but yeah, it was like this thing that like, you know, like Logan Street's kind of a song, I guess I'm just talking about it because I can talk about it with you, especially because you played it. But Logan Street's a song that I wrote because I'm in this band with all these old guys. Like it's Matt Weeder from Automatic and Kendall's and Mouthpiece, and Jeremy Holohan, who plays in Super Touch and played in Miracle Drug and with Matt. And they both play in Love and Trust too. And then Ryan, and we're doing this band, and I'm with these older guys who I've kind of always looked up to. And then when it came time to write this first song, I thought it would be cool to write a song about something that is based in Louisville. I knew it was gonna be for the comp. So it was, you know, it's actual building in Louisville on Logan Street. And the song's kind of about this, like passing the torch, sort of like, like in like tradition and what it means to like, because we would go, like I went to this building and someone showed me how to get up there. And then I would take people and I would show them how to get up there. And it's just this idea of just, you know, passing along traditions, passing along like these important moments in our life and like experiencing them, and like just how trivial it kind of feels like later when you look back at it and you're like, man, that felt like the most important thing in the world at that point in time. And it was like I remember like how many times I went to that building early in the early days and like had these wild nights and these great adventures. And then eventually it kind of just felt like my job. But I knew that I was taking new kids to this building and they were having that experience that I had, where I thought it was the most amazing thing. And I thought it was the best night of my life. And I thought for me, it was kind of, you know, just that idea of like, the more you do something, the less special it is. But at the moment, like it felt like you're in like Stand By Me or some shit. Like it felt like you were in this, you know, very, you know, pivotal moment in your life. And that building kind of represented that time in Louisville and that time in my life before it got too hot to go to. And then now it's apparently fine. We just walk fucking right in the middle of the day, but they're about to gentrify it and turn it into like expensive condos. So.
And for people who are curious, is that the building that's in that montage video on your TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was us going up there to take the photo. Which, yeah, dude. By the way, Ashton really appreciated you talking about the TikTok. That's like her baby is doing the TikTok.
Oh, really? I don't remember where I first talked about it at, if I'm being honest.
I think you talked about it with Dave.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I because I created a TikTok to start pushing some of this content. And then just, you know, by chance, you know, you're starting to see who's on it. And I didn't know that LDB had a TikTok. So I thought that was cool seeing like the record reviews, the, you know, the shirts, and just hearing about what's going on. And then eventually, Ash made the video shouting out, you know, the podcast. So I thought that was really cool too. Just like just mutual love, you know. So I appreciate it, and I think it's cool. Like just one more, you know, a medium to, you know, push the content out there. So it's cool.
Yeah, no, that's kind of all her moves. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with fucking social media, man. Like so often with like Twitter and Instagram, it's just like, I mean, like I guess we'll just post and let people know what's going on, but with TikTok, it's like a little bit more like personal, I guess. But yeah, it's fun. But yeah, that TikTok was us going up to take those photos. So that's what that warehouse was. It was like a factory where like before we had refrigerators, you had to like make ice, like dry ice, and that's where they made dry ice in Louisville, was at the ice factory.
Interesting.
But yeah, it sucks. They're gonna like turn it into like fucking ritzy condos at some point, or we think they're just gonna level the building, which I'd rather them just level the building than turn it into an abomination of
high rise and
fucking gross.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But yeah, so yeah, the comp that's Constrained. I'll have a song and that it's already played on Scoped, and Inclinational. That song will play on Scoped, and we're kind of trickling a few of the songs out. Like I wanted to give you exclusive access to that Weapon X song because I wanted people to hear it.
Yeah,
and I didn't know when it was going to go live, and I just wanted to help Dave out too. I'm really glad you talked to Dave. I knew you would get along with Dave.
Oh, Dave's awesome. I had a really fun time talking to him. He's because like I didn't know what to expect, but getting to talk to him, it just felt like he was just a friend that I've had for a long time. So it was cool.
Yeah, when most of the time when we've talked about comics and I've mentioned like, oh, my buddy who's like really into this it's always Dave. Anytime I've said my buddy told me this, it's always Dave. That's Dave every time.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, me and Dave have been homies since fucking he's like a day one like hardcore kid in Louisville. Like going back as far as like Nemo and Alex. Like he's like he got into hardcore like a year before I did. But then he moved to New Zealand, which we all like to give him shit and say he moved to Australia, and it really makes him mad, and it's really fun.
For sure.
It's really fun. If you ever talk to him again,
I'll ask him like, hey, how was Australia?
Just slide it in. Find a way to talk to him about when he moved away from Louisville, and then be like, that's when you moved. It was like, oh, I thought you moved in Australia. Like say, like just do something like that. It would be fucking incredible. He'll get so mad. It'll It'll be so good. Well, actually, he won't get mad. He'll be like, he'll correct you politely because he's the most polite person in the world. But if you be like, Tyler told me to say that, he'll get mad. He'll get mad then.
Yeah, he'll be like, I'm not sure he'll be like suspicious. Like, wait, how does Jamie know about this?
You might just think you're confused or be like, oh no, New Zealand and Australia are different things, my friend. But then if you're like, oh no, Tyler told me so, it's like, oh, that fucking that cocksucker. But yeah, as far as Constraint goes, that's pretty much all we got going. Hopefully Sleep Whale record more songs when Ryan's not so busy with Gates to Hell, because we have enough to record for a 7-inch right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else going on. Yeah, I hope everybody likes the Inclination record, man. I really like it.
I really like it too. So I think people will. I think once they hear the full thing, they'll be pleasantly surprised and happy. So I think it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah, I've seen some of the artwork because Ridge from Pain of Truth and Life's Question. Mm-hmm. He's doing the artwork for it, and he did a fucking kick-ass job. He did all the stuff that you've seen so far, like all the shirt designs for the Glimpse Through the Lens or whatever, mm-hmm. and all that stuff. He's done a pretty fucking bang up job. I'm very happy with it, but also I'm happy with everything. That's the thing. Like they always like sometimes they don't even ask me like what I think of things, because they'll send me something and they'll be like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, it looks cool. And then they'll decide to change it and they'll be like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, that looks cool too. Like, mm-hmm. I don't really care. There's very few things that I'll get any kind of way with, because it just doesn't really matter to me as much.
For sure. Well, Tyler, this has been another awesome podcast. Appreciate the update on all the music stuff. I appreciate your perspective on Doctor Strange. We'll definitely be back for Thor around your birthday. But before we go, is there anything else you would like to say that we haven't covered? Because we've been here for 3 hours and like
has it been 3 hours again? Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
So sorry if anybody's made it this far in the podcast. Then I guess thank you for caring about what we have to say about things this much to hang around for this whole time.
Yes, thank you.
You're a real one, like straight up. Like I listen to everything. Like anytime I listen to a podcast, listen to the whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll like fast forward through an ad, but like for the most part, like I'll listen to every bit of something, because even if it's something that like the Axe to Grind does all the pit reports or whatever, I'll listen. I'll at least, like, if I'm bored with it, I'll skip it just so it registers that I listened to the whole thing, because I know it helps the full play gets done. But most of the time I stick all the way through these things. So if anybody is like me, then I'm sorry that you're like me. It's awful.
For sure. All right.
It sucks being like me, but you're not alone.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you everybody who tuned in, who sticked around, and we'll be back soon.